Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life on this Tuesday, October 28th, 2000. And I was struggling there with the, the volume thing. 2025. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely, lovely, lovely Tuesday. And yes, that is probably the most apropos way to start today's program because, truth be told, my friends, I'm a little bit wonky right now. I'm a little sleep deprived. Now, I do want to say off the bat, today's a great day. Today is my lovely and beautiful daughter's 9th birthday. Happy birthday to Claire. 9 years ago today, I became a father of a beautiful, beautiful, special, wonderful baby girl, my one and only. And I love her so very much. She's a regular on this program, as you guys know, the Claire and Ariel Show. Well, maybe you shouldn't follow our picks all the time, but it is one of the more popular segments on the program. Anyway, October 28th, a day that I love so very much. And so I'm in a good mood. As a result of that, I am also very sleep deprived. I mean, my eyes are bloodshot. I don't know if you guys can tell.
It's tough.
It's reminiscent of a feeling that I experienced back in 2017 when we were in Las Vegas. We stayed up all night at Floyd Mayweather's Girl Collection Club, and then we had to go from there, get an hour or two max of sleep, and then do two shows, MMA Beat and then the MMA Hour, live from Las Vegas Media Center for Maymac. I feel sort of the same way because, my friends, I went to bed at approximately 3 a.m. last night, woke up at 6:30. Why? Because I stayed up. I stayed up for the entire World Series Game 3 matchup between your Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And as fate would have it, we lost. It was a heartbreaking way to lose a game in which you stayed up for about 6 hours and 45 minutes, tied for the second longest game in World Series history in terms of length, tied for the longest game in World Series history in terms of innings. Blue Jays lose 6-5. Freddie Freeman, walk-off, lead-off, home run in the 18th. And I made it all the way to the end. I stayed up. I have the receipts. I was up. It was great. There was a sense of camaraderie with the very few that were up at that hour.
Me?
The real ones were up. Not Frankie. But some members of our team made it all the way to the end, which was very impressive. And, I mean, not making any excuses, but the Jays had no one left in the lineup. I mean, it was Vladdy and 8 jabronis, if we're being honest, and they were hanging in there. They had everyone, what was that? What are you trying to say?
I started typing.
What happened there?
That was not good.
It was all hands on deck, so to speak. And the beauty of baseball is that you're back at it today. Of course, some guy named Shohei Ohtani is pitching and hitting, which is a little worrisome, but we'll worry about that later. Down 2-1. Just win one in LA, and then head back to Toronto to win game 6 and 7, and then we're good. We're all good. But that was special stuff. So if you stayed up, shout out to you. If you're one of those fans on the West Coast that was complaining about staying up and it was like 10:30, I do not feel sorry for you. If you're an East Coast fan, much respect. If you're a Blue Jays fan, even greater respect. We'll get them back tonight. And I hope that you are powering through today with perhaps some caffeine, some, some psychedelics, whatever you need to get to tonight for Game 4. Now, today we have a great program lined up for all of you as per usual. We're doing On the Nose today, so stay tuned for that. We're doing it on Tuesdays these days, at least for now. So much to discuss, of course, coming off of 321 and everything we talked about yesterday with Tom Aspinall and Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker and Mackenzie Dern, and on it goes. So that'll be back into the show. We'll answer your questions. arielhelwani.substack.com if you want to get a few more in. Prior to that, the aforementioned Fabio Wardley is going to join us. I'm looking forward to that chat, defeating Joseph Parker on Saturday. We spoke to Joseph about it yesterday. Go check it out. Prior to that, Jourdain, who won back in Vancouver 2 weekends ago, has looked very good at bantamweight, will be joining us. So I look forward to that chat. Dr. Brian Sutterer, MD, is going to join us. He has a phenomenal YouTube channel in which he talks about sports injuries. He specializes in sports medicine. He will join us to talk about the eye poke and some other recent MMA/boxing injuries. He was on our show about a year ago, and he was phenomenal. Very excited to have him back. But first, let us talk to the man who had a phenomenal highlight reel performance bonus winning head kick knockout on Saturday. He knocked out Nasrat Haqparast in the first round in a fight that he took on 10 days notice, had to cut almost 30 pounds during that stretch, and scored one of the more vicious knockouts that you will see all year. He is the pride of Perth. He is the one and only Quillan Salkilld, who is kind enough to join us very early in the morning, or maybe it's late at night, depending on how you slice this. It is 1:05 a.m., I do believe, in Perth right now, right?
G'day, Ariel. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock, but I'm still buzzing from the weekend, so I'd still be up anyway.
Okay, I love it. It's great to meet you. And by the way, would you say good day to someone at 1 o'clock in the morning, or is there like a nighttime version of that?
I think you say it any time of day, to be honest.
Well, technically it is the morning, so I guess good day would work. What has life been like for you? The trip, 10 days notice, you get this knockout, you have to cut an extreme amount of weight. You're probably buzzing, long trip back home. Do you feel like you're just kind of floating through the air right now?
Pretty much, man. Taking this fight was, it was a no-brainer for me. I was heading into this fight looking to do something special, and I think I got to achieve that. I didn't think it would go exactly that way, but that way is probably the most ideal, way, a fight in this scenario can finish. So, I'm, like you said, I'm floating through the air right now. Feel like I'm on top of the world.
When you got the call 10 days before the fight, where were you? Where were you at? Did you have to talk to people? What was going through your mind as you get this offer?
Yeah, I was asleep. It was early in the morning. My manager called me, and I seen it, and I kind of just left it. It's like I pressed the snooze button, and then 5 minutes later she called me again. I figured it must be important, so I picked it up, and when she gave me the offer, first thing I did was jump on the scales, make sure I could make weight, and it was a bit iffy at the moment, so I was a bit scared, but I knew I could do it, and then it was just like zero hesitation in the fact that it was a well experienced opponent and on a big card. I just thought, how exciting is this? This is cool. I want to go in there, try to do something badass, and I live for these moments. I'm all about the excitement in this game. So the bigger opportunities that come, I find I perform much better. And this is the thrill of the game is just what I do this for.
How bad was the weight cut?
It actually wasn't that bad, to be honest. I lost 3 kilos in a day. I ate a heap of crap on the weekend. Usually I go down to my parents that live like an hour away, and my mum cooks a homemade meal, and I indulge in that. So I think that was most of the extra weight I put on just from the weekend before, but it wasn't too bad. It ended up being the same amount of water weight that I'd usually cut in the days leading up to. So it was pretty standard, actually.
Okay. And by the way, I do have to say now, learning a little bit more about you and seeing some of the video blogs about you posted on YouTube, the glow up is real. I saw some photos of you from a few years ago. You look completely different than the man that we're speaking. This is you. How old is this?
Yeah, embarrassing. Without the mustache, that's
the hair, the mustache. How many years ago is this?
No, that wasn't that long ago. That was 4 years ago.
It's a completely different vibe right now. And for the record, I like this vibe more. I like this vibe more.
Yeah, I started growing the mustache and figured that's pretty good. And then I grew my hair out a little bit for the Contender Series, because it was my first time on an international level. I was like, I got to rep, the Australian hairstyle and get the mullet. And then I ended up, liking it. So I just figured my style out later on than what I probably should have.
That other photo, you're kind of, one of a million. Here, you stick out. You're memorable. You're unique. And so I would stick with this. I saw you doing interviews. You're wearing the chain. You're wearing the bathrobe and everything like that. You've got a look to you. You've got an edge. Yeah. Where's the bathrobe? I was expecting it this time.
That was the Abu Dhabi one.
Okay.
I was living lavish. I had the top floor, great view. I felt like king up there. So, but I'm back home now, so just back to the norm.
And by the way, can I ask about your name? It is a unique name, Quillan. Where does that come from?
That's actually it is Irish descent. I think it means cub. You can search it up.
Okay.
It means cub. So it's not like the most badass name for a fighter to have, but I'll take it.
I do like it, and obviously what you've been doing as of late has been tremendous, and the knockout was tremendous, albeit very scary. And I know that in the moment you are so happy, you're over the moon, you're celebrating, you've just accomplished something great. How quickly does the elation of the moment turn to like, oh my gosh, this guy isn't moving, he's face down, it seems like his legs are convulsing. That seemed like an eternity as a viewer. I can't imagine what it felt like for you.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling. Like as it happened, like I didn't even take notice. I was just, like in the moment, like celebrating. Then, I think like a minute goes by and DC comes in, and he was like, oh shit, like he's still on the floor. And that's when I kind of like realized, looked over, and I was like, damn, like he's in, not a good way at the moment. And, bad thoughts do go into my head, but, once I seen him start to, moving, him start to like, come back to, consciousness, things do, settle. And, I understand, part of the game, he's trying to do the exact same thing to me. So yeah, I just think it's just, all part of it.
Did it feel like an eternity for you as well, or is it all kind of a blur right now?
Yeah, it's all kind of a blur. Like it comes so fast. Like even in the build up, like since my last one, like we were bugging the UFC actually for a fight. We're like, always hitting them up, probably being annoying, trying to hit them up for a fight. And then, when this come around, now it just seemed like, all within a, split second, everything's, passed, and now we're back, back at home, like normal stuff now.
Is that kind of the, I wonder if that's kind of the best way to describe this year that you've experienced. Like, last fall you went on Contender Series. This was now your third numbered event in the UFC. You've won 2 bonuses. Like what a rookie year, if you want to call that, for you. A year ago, you're not in the UFC, or you're maybe just getting into the UFC because you're winning the Contender Series in September of 2024. How would you even describe this year that you've just experienced in the major leagues of MMA?
Yeah, it's been a busy year, a successful one. I understand that in this game you're only in your you're only at the top of the game for a very specific amount of time, and it's not it's not long. It'll go by fast. So I'm here to make the most of my youth, and realistically speaking, I got like 10 years left in the game, so I got to make every year count. So I think I start off with a good one, and I'm looking to continue that leading into 2026.
So you're 25 now. Are you saying you don't want to go past 35, or are you just saying like that's
just like just an estimate, like like a rough estimate. Around 35 is usually when you make a decision. I could end up. Hopefully, I'm like a Yoel Romero when I'm like I'll be 50 and be still smashing it. So we'll see how the body holds up when I get to my mid 30s.
Did you have a chance to talk to Nasrat afterwards?
I did not actually. I seen him at the back, but I don't think that I don't think he would want to probably see me. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to see. I want to see my opponent if they did that, and I think they kind of just got him off to the hospital to do some monitoring, and I think that's it. I had no interaction with him after the fight.
Did you injure your foot while landing the kick?
Yeah, I did. I think I broke it.
Wow.
To be honest, it's busted up right now. I'm limping. I'm in a moon boot. So
wow. Just from the kick, just from it landing on his head.
Yeah, I've never hit anybody that hard ever before, mate.
Wow. Do you work on head kicks a lot? Like, is that one of your things that you love to go to?
Yeah, of course, especially on a like southpaw versus orthodox. Spamming the rear kick, and we're looking to kick at all levels, and we opened up the fight. We started off throwing teeps to the body and to the leg and round kicks to the body, and that was the first one I threw up high. Caught him obviously off guard. He guarded for a body kick, and yeah, I threw it with everything that I could, and yeah, ended up breaking my foot on his head.
Damn. Will you need surgery?
No, it's not that bad. It was nothing major. I didn't snap the thing in half. It just it'd probably be something like a microfracture.
Okay.
Just pull it aside.
By the way, you're from Perth, right? You're joining us from Perth right now?
Yes.
Why didn't you fight on
Yes.
the Perth card just a couple of weeks ago?
Well, they didn't have a matchup for me. We're actually bugging them a little bit in the lead up. So I like asking if they're, is there something for me? And they didn't end up getting back to us in the time frame. So, it was unfortunate that I didn't get to fight, in front of a home crowd, but I'm sure I'll get the chance to it at some point or another. And, I consider that a blessing in disguise, because this opportunity that just happened on the weekend probably
Right.
wouldn't have arisen. And I doubt whatever performance I did on the Perth card, if I was to have one, wouldn't have topped this one.
What is going on over there in Perth? It seems like every couple of weeks we have someone coming out of Perth. Of course, the champion at 170, Jack Della, no better example than him. But it seems like there's like this influx of great fighters from your neck of the woods who are doing so great right now.
Yeah, I think just the whole of all of Australia right now. Like, sometimes I watch our amateurs at all like the local events here, and I think, damn, like, especially right now, like if I was an amateur, like now, if I had the same skills I had as an amateur when I was competing, then now I'd get my ass whooped. I wouldn't have even made it to the pro ranks. So I think just the whole of Oz right now is just like everyone's taken MMA very seriously, and especially here in Perth, like a lot of people say that there's nothing to do here. Well, if that's the case, all we do is train and live, breathe MMA. For us that do this as a hobby or just as a career option. So I think it's just our ethic, our work ethic towards the sport.
Have you ever trained with Jack?
I actually haven't trained with him. I actually planned to train with him, like last week before I got the fight booked. So we had like a training session planned to go in and train together. But then this opportunity come up, so I had to obviously we canned that to come and travel. But yeah, in the future we're definitely going to get some training in together.
How big of a deal is he, and is this fight back home? Like, is he a mainstream star? Is everyone talking about it?
Yeah, he's the man here. He's leading the way for us. So I'm very honored to even like follow in the footsteps. Like I actually was hoping that I'd get a fight on the MSG card on his on the prelims. So it'd be like like the old days, like on the local scene here, he was headlining the main events. And when I was an amateur and even early on through my pro career, I was fighting on pretty much his undercard. And then when he moved on, I ended up main eventing the local show here. So it would be cool to kind of like replicate that, but on the biggest stage in the world.
I saw an interview with you that was conducted by Sherdog.com back in 2020. And you said this in the interview. You said, I didn't even know what the UFC was until I played the game. I knew nothing about it. I was playing the game with one of my mates, and I was like, shit, this is sick. That's how I became a fan of the sport after playing it. How long ago was that? Yeah. How old are you when you're playing the video game and know nothing about the promotion that you're now starring in?
Yeah, I was 16.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that's not that long ago.
My mate, no, it wasn't. My mate used to come up behind me at school and put me in a rear naked choke. And he just at random. And I knew nothing about the sport, so I didn't know what tapping out was. So I was literally like fighting for my life. Just randomly at school, just come up and put me in a choke.
Wow.
And then I was like, get out by the skin of my teeth, almost died, and being pissed off at him. And he was like, you got a tap, bro. And I'm like, what's that? Like, what do you mean? It's like, UFC? And I had no clue. Ended up going to his place after school, and then we played UFC 2. And he was showing me like Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, so... And I was like, and I figured this is wicked. And I end up getting the game for myself. And then, obviously Conor being on the front, then it was like the first fighter I searched up, and I ended up being, become a fan instantly. Watching his videos on the way I was playing footy. So on my way to footy training, I was like watching his fucking highlights, get me pumped up to go play a totally different sport. So yeah, definitely UFC 2 game got me into it.
And you had no prior background in martial arts whatsoever?
I did 1 day of karate, I think, when I was 5.
Okay. Wow. 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 And so,
Did the old
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
one
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's what I remember.
And so, how do you go from
Did
playing
one
the game
quit.
to then going into a gym and start to train?
Yeah. After the first UFC event in Perth was at Rockhold and Romero.
Okay.
I started training a week after that. I went to that event, and then the UFC gym opened up here, and I ended up going to train there, like just for fun, like a week later, and then yeah, it just spiraled from there.
Wow. And so you went to that event as a fan. You were now starting to get into it, right?
Yeah,
And then you just start training. At
trained
what?
a week later. Literally the next week, I started training after going to that event.
And then how do you go from just like a guy who's interested, who's a fan, you're training, to now saying, I want to do this as my career?
I just become addicted. I don't know what it was, because at that time I was playing like Aussie rules footy, and that's what I wanted to do. So I've always wanted to be like some sort of athlete, and before that I wanted to be a pro skateboarder. Like when I was a teenager, and then footy, and then within like 3 months of training, I had a total switch. Lost all interest in playing football, and then decided that this is what I wanted to do. And it wasn't till I had one amateur fight and I lost that. And then after my second amateur fight, I won. I won by the skin of my teeth. I was getting bashed the whole fight, and then the last round I pulled off a rear naked choke win, and that was the moment where I decided I'm gonna do this. Like that feeling of winning was, there was nothing like it, and I was hooked from that.
Wow. What'd your family say? What'd your parents say?
They were supportive from the get go. To be honest, I think my mum was a bit worried when I got a bit too interested in the sport to begin with, but when I, told them that I'm gonna be doing this, they were 100% on board. Like, especially early on through my amateur career, they didn't make me get a job or move out. Like, I just stayed at home and just trained, twice a day, every day, and that's how I got to kind of like, speed run through through the tracks and be able, become successful at the sport. Was, my parents being 100% supportive and let me live at home, and I didn't even move out until like 2 years ago now. So
Wow.
yeah, they've been like the biggest support.
And you lost your pro debut, right? Via rear naked choke.
Yeah, I'm
it your team?
cursed.
Was it your classmate that did it to you? No, it wasn't. Because you said
No.
it was a bad joke. But that must have been tough to lose your debut.
know,
Like,
I was,
did you?
I am cursed to never be undefeated. Like my first amateur fight, my first pro fight, and even my first like Muay Thai fight, I
Wow.
lost. And then I go pretty well after that. So that's just a curse. I'll never be undefeated.
I think it says a lot about you. Some people might question themselves. Maybe you want to quit. Whatever you say, no, I'm good, and then you go on a crazy. You haven't lost since, right? You're 10-1.
No, that's it. Yeah.
And so you want to fight on the rumored Australia card in 2026, early 2026. That's still the plan, right?
Yes, that'd be ideal. I've got a month to sort out my foot. I think that'll be good. That'll be, after a month's time, it should be back to, in kicking order. And then it's pretty much like 2-month camp if it's going to be early February, like the rumors say. So I hope I can definitely get on that one, and hopefully I can get on the main card. That'd be a wicked step up, main card spot.
Who do you want to fight? Who's the ideal opponent on that card? Main card in Australia, 3-0. Who are you squaring off against?
Ideally, like what I heard, someone like a Moicano would be cool. I think that's a tough challenge to face.
You're ready for that.
There.
You're ready for that step up.
I'm ready for that. Yes.
Okay.
But at the same time, I understand I've only had 3 fights, so I don't know if that ends up being a stupid call out because of my inexperience, you guess. But I'm ready for that challenge, and I hope they give me someone along the lines of that. Someone in the rankings is where I'd love to, I'd love to fight anyone that's ranked or a well-known name. I'm just after, good fights.
Keep doing your thing, my man. It's really fun to see. What a great stoppage. What a great win. What a great knockout for you. What a great year for you. Congratulations on an unbelievable maiden voyage here in the UFC. I hope your foot heals up very quickly and that we do get to see you in early 2026, because it's a lot of fun seeing what you've done in a short amount of time. So thank you so much for staying up late for us. Congratulations, and hope to speak to you soon again.
Thank you, Ariel. Thanks for having me on. It's been an honor.
Okay, thanks. Same here. Here he is, Quillan Salkilld, who is kind enough to join us. What a great win, and I think he's a player right now. I think he's someone that we need to start paying attention to, fighting at 155 pounds. He's won 10 in a row, and he has arrived. You do that to Nasrat Haqparast, who I think had won, 5 in a row, and had only been stopped once before in his 15-fight UFC career. He had won 5 in a row and had only been stopped once. And here's young Quillan Salkilld knocking him out with a vicious head kick knockout, which put him out cold, legs convulsing. It was scary stuff. Well done to him, and congratulations. Now on a 10-fight winning streak, 3-0 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. All right, still to come, Charles Jourdain will stop by. Fabio Wardley, who defeated Joseph Parker in that somewhat controversial fight on Saturday. But around this time last year, we had a guest that we all loved having on, a guy who does a brilliant job on YouTube, social media, way smarter than all of us. His name is Dr. Brian Sutterer, MD. He is a doctor who specializes in sports medicine. Anytime there's any kind of injury in the world of sports, anytime, Cam Scatabo gets hurt, literally 30 minutes later on his YouTube channel, there's a 15-minute breakdown. I don't know how he's wearing a suit and tie, but he's got it all with pictures and with skeletons and with x-rays, all kinds of stuff. And he was all over the Tom Aspinall story as well. So we thought it would be very interesting to talk to him about what transpired on Saturday. He is kind enough to join us, I do believe, during his lunch break, right? This is your lunch break in between saving the world.
Yeah, that's right. In between, people wonder, are you just on YouTube? No, I have an actual job. So yeah, it worked out well. I appreciate the invite and getting a chance over the break here to talk a little bit about what we saw this weekend and then recently in the UFC.
Yes, thank you so much. Your insight is unbelievable. By the way, I might try to squeeze in a George Springer. Was that an oblique? I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but I'm very worried about George Springer. He left the game. I don't know. Did you see that? Or did you stay up till 3 a.m. to watch the World Series?
I did not stay up till 3 a.m. to watch.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll have to fill me in a little bit. Maybe.
Okay, something weird happened there, and I'm very worried as a Jays fan, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about fighting, and Tom Aspinall in particular. You did a great breakdown. I urge everyone to check it out on your YouTube channel. Tom Aspinall gets poked in the eyes multiple times. Earlier in the fight at the 149 mark, failed takedown attempt, but then the big one, the double poke, if you will. And there's been all kinds of theories as to whether or not he was telling the truth, quitting, faking, all that stuff and more. From your vantage, and I know you weren't there in Abu Dhabi, but from your vantage point and from your expertise, what did you see? How was it all handled?
What I saw was a mechanism, a moment, a foul, right? That clearly can cause, even if it's not specifically a big, bad, severe injury, can clearly cause enough visual impairment that the fight should be stopped. And that's really what I think you have to focus on. Everybody seemed to be latching onto the fact that, even at the hospital afterwards, right, the doctor said, well, there's no serious damage. People saw that his eye visually looked okay. The doctor that was there covering the fight said the eye looks okay. And there's a big difference between something looking okay and something functioning okay. And when you get knuckles dug deep into your eyes, not just on one side, but on both sides, that is plenty force. That's plenty trauma to cause your eye to not function the right way, even though it might objectively look okay when the doctor is there at the ringside examining it. And so I think it was handled perfectly. I think, yeah, the eye visually looks okay, but in those circumstances, you have, number one, a foul, you have a mechanism of injury, and you have a fighter that's telling you symptoms. It's telling you they can't see. And if you can't see, you can't protect yourself. If you can't protect yourself, the fight can't continue. So it seemed very, very straightforward to me.
And so when he says he can't see, what exactly is happening there? What is the injury that is causing that?
There's a couple of possibilities. The most common thing that you'll see with an eye poke is what we call a corneal abrasion. So the cornea is the outermost layer that goes across the front of your eye. It's a clear, thin layer of cells. And if you take a finger, some dirt, even just a clean finger, and you scrape it across the front of the cornea, you will actually you'll cause trauma to that layer of cells on the cornea. that's a corneal abrasion. And so that's going to be the most common injury that you'll see when somebody gets an eye poke. And there's a reflex that happens that you cannot control where your eye wants to close because it's experienced a trauma. Your body is designed to protect yourself. And so whenever you have trauma to the eye, your body doesn't know where you're doing. It's designed to react and protect itself. And so there will be a reflex that you cannot easily overcome where the eye wants to close itself. You'll have tearing that occurs, and the tearing can cause the vision to look very blurry, right? If you squirt a bunch of water in your eye and try to open your eye, everything looks blurry and fuzzy, right? Because of all that water. So the tearing in the eye is going to be a reflex that occurs in response to the trauma. The eyelid is going to want to close and stay closed. That's why you see fighters really struggle with, like, it kind of looks like they're faking, right? They're kind of trying to like, oh, I can't keep it open. That's a reflex. That's not something they're intentionally doing. It's your body trying to protect the eye from more injury. And just the damage to the cornea itself can sort of cause the light as it enters the eye to get refracted in various abnormal ways where your vision might look more shimmery. It might, be more blurry in spots where you're not seeing as clear. So that's if this was a corneal abrasion, which would look on visual inspection completely normal. The other possibility is just the direct pressure going into the eye. So let's say your eyelid is closed, but a finger goes directly into the eyeball. You can think of it like a concussion to your eyeball, right? So we know with a concussion, there's this force of energy that gets transferred into your brain, into those brain cells, and causes disruption in the brain cells. Think of it almost like a concussion to the eye. When the finger gets poked, that energy is transferred through the meat of the eyeball and can cause damage to the retina, which is the layer on the backside of the eye. And it can cause this temporary stunning, so to speak, where your vision is going to be blurry. It's going to be distorted just from all that direct pressure going into the eyeball as well. So those are probably the two most likely things that were causing him to be able to say, yeah, I can't see. And then, of course, you can't continue the fight if you can't see.
You often hear about torn retinas. There's a famous case of Michael Bisping who tore his retina. He lost his eye. Is that the worst thing that can happen? Could that even happen as a result of an eye poke, or would that have to happen over a sustained amount of time?
That can happen. That's definitely not the worst thing. You can get a true open globe where the eyeball literally like ruptures.
Wow.
Like what it sounds like, where the eyeball pops, so to speak. That's going to be the worst thing that would happen. A retinal detachment is definitely a serious thing, but it's a treatable thing. And so if you noticed in that video that Aspinall shared, when they had his head kind of sitting up in that apparatus and there was a light that was being shined in front of his eye, what they're doing there is they're looking in the back of his eye. They're looking at the retina to make sure there's no evidence of a retinal detachment, because that's probably going to be one of the more common, serious, but treatable injuries that would occur with an eye poke.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy that you brought up the interactions in the cage, because you could hear the cage side doctor saying like, oh, it looks fine. And everyone has run with that and said, like, even the doctor said it looks fine. If we could just expand on that, he's just talking about the fact, correct me if I'm wrong, that like the ball isn't out of the socket, right? That's the only thing that he can see in that moment.
100%. Yeah, he's just talking about, hey, the eyeball looks normal, but you're not going to be able to see in the back of the eye there ringside. You're not going to be able to assess to see if the retina is detached. You're going to look, you're going to make sure, hey, the eyeball's not hanging out. A simple thing that you'll see docs do ringside or even in other sports when somebody has concern for an orbital fracture is whenever they move their finger to the side and they have somebody follow with their eyes, what you're doing there is you're making sure that the eyes are moving together, because if you have an orbital fracture, sometimes the bone can trap the muscles that are deep inside the eye socket, controlling the eyeballs. And objectively, the fighter, the athlete will complain of double vision because the eyes are slightly off sync from one another. And oftentimes, especially looking upwards, they'll do that. And if one eyeball does not move upwards, that can tell you that there could be an orbital fracture where that muscle is getting pinched or trapped because of the socket. And so that would be one thing that visually you might see in terms of the function of the eye. But to diagnose a corneal abrasion, you have to take a specialized dye and you put this green fluorescent dye on the eyeball and then shine it with a specific UV lamp. And that's how you would diagnose a corneal abrasion, but you're not going to be able to do that at ringside. So he's correct. It'll look normal, but that doesn't mean it's functioning normal.
I wanted to ask you about an interaction that he showed on his video blog of him at the hospital, because I give Tom a lot of credit. I thought that he was going to explode on everyone there because it seemed like they weren't quite well equipped to take care of an injury like this. Going to play you the clip and then get your take on it, on the interaction. Here it is.
What's about your vision?
I can answer.
I have to
Ow.
check.
Okay, go on. It was actually both eyes, but this one was. We did like that.
What is his name?
Other side? Okay, I'm very sorry. When I pull up or what?
Just
or
burned.
when I put the light
Yeah,
in?
with the light.
With the light. Okay. Now we can cover it again.
Okay.
There is no external features of trauma
No.
yet. Okay.
What did you make of that, doctor?
Yeah, that was super interesting. I hadn't listened to all of it before, but I love, it's funny. There was a comment in there. I think I heard on a different clip of one of the providers there was asking like what happened.
Yeah.
Like clearly they don't understand. And I love that because I think sometimes if you are only around medical providers who intentionally like know the sport and know what you're doing, sometimes you can get biased. And so the fact that they went somewhere where they are treating everybody who walks in there equally. It doesn't matter if you were like horseback riding or UFC fight. Evaluating the eye is evaluating the eye. And so they're, in a sense, able to remove all subjectivity from it and just focus on the objective. What's wrong with this eye? There's somebody here in front of me in the hospital who's got an eye injury. Let's evaluate their eye injury. No bias to, he's a fighter, he needs to be tough or whatever. Bias completely removed. And so I thought that was actually kind of good to see that there wasn't that sense of, you're tough, you'll be fine, and just objectively focus on it. When she shined the light in his eye, right? So she asked him, was it when I pulled it up or was it the light? And I think that is helpful because if it was from just moving and pushing on the eye, that could suggest more trauma to the structures. When it's pain from shining the light in the eye, one of the things that can happen, as I mentioned, that sort of concussion of the eyeball, you can get this almost electric overload, this circuit overload of the retina, because the retina are cells and the light comes in, it hits those cells send signal back to your brain and the brain processes it. And if it's overloaded, it can be just hypersensitive. And so then if you go and you shine a bright light at it, it's already kind of on high alert and over amplified with getting XF electrical signal. And so it would make sense why the light would bother. It's the same way when somebody has a concussion that the light can be more sensitive to them because of how it stimulates the brain. In this case, it's the light stimulating the retina, probably from that trauma that was disparted through the eye into the back of the retina.
I know this is a tough question to answer. What do you think he is feeling today? How much pain? Like how long will something like this last?
Yeah, so if it's just a corneal abrasion, typically within a few days or a week, they're feeling quite a bit better. I assume by now he's probably back home. I guess I don't know for sure, but I assume they will repeat these tests. They'll probably go in and, I don't know if he was able to see an eye doctor at the fight location or not, but I'm sure he'll see another one when he gets back home. They'll repeat these exams because sometimes things can change. Sometimes you might not see it right away. And so they'll reevaluate these exams. He's probably feeling a lot better. His vision is probably starting to clear up. I wouldn't expect it to be 100% resolved yet, but assuming they reevaluate, there's no damage to the retina, there's no damage to the globe, and his visual acuity comes back, I would expect him to be fine in a matter of weeks and be back ready to fight, assuming there's nothing else that they find with the rest of his, possible post-fight injuries.
And do you think there's any chance that this can linger, that this could be something that could last 4, 5, 6 months?
Yeah, I don't think so, unless they find something new. If they find, sometimes you have to do surgery for a detached retina or whatnot. So if they found something like that, then that's a different story. But assuming all the tests continue to come back normal, I wouldn't expect his eye to be, more sensitive to this or anything like that going forward.
Do you think he made the right call based on like how serious this could be to not continue?
Yeah, 100%. I think too, right? I'm a fan. It's disappointing to watch it and see and the fight not continue. But, number one, the thread that they walk at that sport is so tight that losing one fight, one injury can change your entire career trajectory. And so I think you always have to err on that side of the fighter making the right decision of, hey, if I can't see, I might be tough, but toughness doesn't necessarily pay the bills and toughness doesn't get you another title chance. If you decide to go out there and fight with one eye and then you lose or get a different type of injury, he's coming off, he's had bad injuries, right? And so I think in that moment, absolutely, he made the right decision. You can't see, you can't protect yourself. And so why even set up that potential to do more damage to the eye, do more damage to something else, and then completely alter your career trajectory.
While we have you, just wanted to ask you about a couple more, and I understand you're pressed for time, so I don't want to keep you too long. That fighter that joined us right before you came on, Quillan knocked out his opponent, Nasrat Hakparas, and it was very scary because Hakparas was on the canvas face down and his legs were convulsing. What do you think he was experiencing there? And when you see that when I see that as a fan, I'm like, holy crap. When you see that as an MD, what are you thinking?
Yeah, when I see the impact, like an impact seizure. So if you watch football, we've seen it in the UFC and boxing. People go into this fencing response where one arm is kind of outstretched from the other. Basically, what you have to remember is happening is that the brain functions on electrical signals, and so when the brain is sending signals between all these different neurons, it's electricity that's mediating all of this. And so whenever somebody gets a concussion, a brain injury, that whole electrical circuit just gets completely thrown out of whack. And sometimes parts of that electrical circuit get overactive and discharge abnormally. And what you're seeing is basically a sort of seizure response. It's a response to the impact in those brain cells where parts of the brain are hyperactive, they're overactive, and just sending all these signals down to your muscles to fire, to fire, to fire. And it expresses itself externally in various ways. Sometimes it's the classic one arm out extended fencing response, which is actually a callback to a reflex we all have as kids, where whenever the neck kind of gets turned to one side, you reflexively put your arms out to protect yourselves. So sometimes we see that. Sometimes we just see seizure activity. But I certainly think of more trauma to the brain. And the longer that somebody is unconscious, there has been plenty of data that compares that to outcomes long term. Some look at unconscious for more than a minute. Some studies will say more than 5 minutes, but we do know that the longer you are unconscious, the more that can correlate with a worse long-term outcome because of more trauma that was imparted to the brain and it taking longer for everything to reset and, for that computer to reboot, so to speak.
I went to a bare knuckle fighting championship event for the first time earlier this month, and every single person that I spoke to there were telling me this is a lot safer than MMA and boxing because while it might look like a little gruesome cuts, it's all superficial. They were telling me we're not getting repeated blows to the head, kicks to all that stuff. This is just punching, and because you have to protect your hands, you're not wearing padded gloves. It's actually a lot safer. It's actually a lot less, damaging to your body. Do you buy any of this? Do you feel like there's anything to that?
I think there's some truth to that. A similar analogy you'll hear is talking about if you want to get rid of injuries in football, take away the helmets. Because, right, if you don't have a helmet on your head, you're not going to be lowering your head and trying to hit people and use it as a weapon. I think it's a different type of injury that you have to look at. Number one, I don't think we have a long enough stretch of data with bare knuckle boxing to compare it to the data we have with traditional boxing or with mixed martial arts. And so it's a much smaller sample size. I do think, though, that if I recall the last I saw that data, there is decreased concussion compared to equal exposures in other sports, but you have increased other injuries. So you have way more hand fractures, you have way more lacerations, way more potential for orbital fractures, that superficial trauma. So yeah, you're kind of trading off one for the other. You're saying, well, would I rather have this injury or that? I think it's hard to put those two together and say which you would rather have. So I do think there are a different set of risks in bare knuckle compared to traditional boxing. None of it obviously is going to be completely absent. It's just which type of injury risk do you want to have higher, the repetitive blows from the padded gloves or more of the hand fractures, the facial trauma from not having that cushioning to protect things?
Okay. There's a guy named Ben Askren who had to undergo a double lung transplant, and he's an unbelievable human and specimen, an athlete, Olympian, Dan Hodge Trophy winner. And there's a part of me that thinks that he's going to try to compete again in some way, shape, or form, because he's talked about examples of people. These are some, videos of him kind of relearning to walk and whatnot. Could someone conceivably do that? Could he compete in a wrestling match? He was planning on doing so before this occurred to him. He had pneumonia and he had like a staph infection that led to pneumonia, and the lung collapsed, all this stuff that I'm not explaining very well and medically well. But is that a crazy thought, or do you think someone of his caliber could actually come all the way back and compete again?
I don't think it's crazy at all. In fact, the sports medicine doctor in me thinks that's an exciting thought and something that, would be really good to have that motivation and inspiration. There's a lot of factors at play there. I think, number one, when you were first saying coming back, I thought mixed martial arts, boxing, I don't know about that. But then wrestling, right? Wrestling is not going to be nearly as high risk. And so then assuming that they can objectively test his lung function, his heart function, and it all is, up to snuff and functioning well, I don't see any reason why he couldn't. In fact, I think he probably has that motivation where he'd be more successful with it. The harder part, the bigger unknown. So sometimes when people are, he obviously looks very different. He's lost a lot of muscle mass. That could simply be from how long he was in a hospital bed, right? You lose a lot of muscle mass even after just days of being in a hospital, let alone weeks, months. Sometimes people will also get actual like muscle damage, myopathies, kind of nerve damage from long-term illnesses. And those can be harder to recover in terms of just, well, do you need to just work out more versus is there actual underlying muscle or nerve damage that's going to take longer to recover? So that's probably the bigger question is, was there something else that went on to the muscles or the nerves? If not, then yeah, it's just a matter of time until hopefully his lung function recovers, his cardiac function is okay. You can objectively test those. And once they are okay, they'll probably want him to do exercise to a certain degree. And then assuming everything is checking out, it's functioning well, he's not having, who knows what actually was going on with his heart, for example. Yeah, there's nothing from what we know so far that I would say he should not or couldn't work back towards being an athlete in whatever respect he wants. Yeah.
Wow. What a thought. Okay. Last one. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but perhaps you'll do a video on it. Everyone's wondering, will George Springer be able to play for the Game 4 tonight or the rest of this year? Here's the video. Can you tell me what he's experiencing? Here's George just swinging, and now all of a sudden you can see he's wincing, and he leaves. That's it. He's done. You see him. He's favoring the right side. What did he experience here? What could he have possibly experienced? They haven't told us if he's available tonight and what that was, but he's gone after this.
Yeah, so it's probably one of his oblique muscles. Basically, the obliques are the muscles in the ab that work on rotation. So your rectus abdominis is the straightforward squatting and doing a sit up. The obliques are important in baseball because that's the twisting that gives you the rotational force. The first thing I was looking at is what part of the game was it? I don't like that it was the 7th inning in a tied game and he pulled himself out, because now we're thinking not so much is it safe for him to play, but can he functionally play? I think it's probably safe for him to play with an oblique injury, but the bigger question is what's his function? Because if he can't swing a bat because the pain is too high, then no, I don't think we're going to see him. And so I don't like that he pulled himself right away and did not continue in a very close game. I would give it a coin flip if we're going to see him again. I don't think this is anything big long term. And if I were managing the team and it's an oblique injury, I'm doing whatever I can to get your pain under control, knowing that we've only got potentially 3 or 4 more games left here in the season. But you can't really numb a muscle necessarily, right? You can't really numb a hamstring strain, a muscle pull, like you could numb, say, a rib fracture or a rib contusion, joint injury. So seeing that so far, I'd probably be less than optimistic, unfortunately, for him to be back right away.
Man, I can't thank you enough. I feel so much smarter just speaking to you for 20 or so minutes. Really appreciate it. Keep up the tremendous work. Your YouTube channel is a must-watch. Your Twitter feed a must-watch. Dr. Brian Sutterer, MD. Really appreciate the time, the insight. It's a great privilege to have you on just for a few minutes, and keep up all the amazing work over there. It's really wonderful to watch. And it's, by the way, it's just amazing how quickly you get the stuff up. I don't know if you're just watching everything or what, but your work ethic is inspiring as well. So I'll say that again. Much respect.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Always happy to come on and talk with you. So anytime.
Thank you so much. There he is, Dr. Brian Sutterer, MD, specializing in sports medicine. Really fun. I enjoy those conversations very much. I hope you do as well. It's great to hear from an actual smart person, a professional, an expert when it comes to these matters. It's weird. Sometimes when we're talking about the injuries and whatnot in the back, Frank likes to pretend like he's an expert because he spends a lot of time on Reddit, but it's nice to speak to an actual expert,
James, to who now?
It's just one of those things. Anyway, great stuff. Still to come. Charles Jourdain. Still to come. Fabio Wardley. Do have some time. And you know what, by the way? I need to apologize to Ciryl Gane. Yesterday, as I was running down his resume in title fights, I mentioned that he lost to Derek Lewis. Of course, he won the interim title against Derek Lewis in Houston, and that led to the champion versus champion, the unification bout against Francis Ngannou in 22, and that was just a brain fart on my part. 0-2 in undisputed title fights, but he was an interim champion, so I apologize for taking that away from him. That fight is always, and that event is always a blind spot for me because it was the weekend before the MMA Hour returned in 2021, and I was away and I didn't watch it live, and I caught up after the fact, yada, yada, no excuses. That was my bad. And so I sincerely apologize. I hate getting things wrong. I hate getting things wrong. And so that was on me. That was my bad. And I can understand that if you are a fan of Ciryl Gane, you will say to yourself, yo, man, like, why are you harping on this DQ stuff? Why are you harping on, this intentional, unintentional, all this other stuff? I hope and pray that sane people who are fans of his or part of his team will understand it is not personal. It is never personal. It really isn't. It is not personal. But that I would say the same if the exact same thing happened and it was Tom doing what happened to Tom on Saturday via his fingers, Ciryl Gane's fingers. I would say the exact same thing. You may not believe me, but that's the truth. And so it is not personal. I can also tell you, breaking news, Frank. I spoke to Andy Foster last night, who is the head of the ABC Rules Committee, and he told me that they have a meeting scheduled for next Tuesday to discuss this intentional, non-intentional meshugas, and he agrees with my stance. And so you'll recall yesterday when I said we need to get rid of this language because it's confusing everyone, and a foul is a foul, and a foul should be a DQ regardless of if it's intentional or unintentional, all this. And they are having a meeting to discuss this and to discuss potentially altering the language. What do you think of that? Any truth to the rumor, I don't know who I'm asking this question to, any truth to the rumor that they will forever call this the Ariel Helwani rule? Because I'm the only one who had the courage to bring it up. I mean, you got people like Rick out there arguing that this doesn't even matter, that it's not even a thing.
Should we place a wager on whether accidental eye pokes lead to automatic DQs? I'd love to. I'm certain I will win that one.
I actually think I'll win.
Let's do it.
I think I won't win with the low blows.
Let's make the wager.
I think I won't win with the low blows. I think they'll say low blows are different. I think
they will remove the language of accidental or not accidental.
Yeah.
I think fouls will be penalized moving forward. I do not think that accidental will lead to DQs.
Okay, so what you're saying is, do you think it will be first infraction point deduction?
Penalty. And
are you saying that if the fight can't continue, they're still going to determine whether or not it's intentional, unintentional, and then say
that would be my amateur opinion, my guess at the moment. Yeah.
No, I couldn't disagree more.
We can wager.
Yeah, $5.
All right, done. Sold.
Wegman sushi. Not on a Monday or a Sunday like Frank.
I want the Toro, so we'll up the price, but I want some of the Toro.
Oh, you want the Toro? That's fine. How much is that? 25?
It's like 20 something.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is this Monday sushi thing?
You cannot have sushi on Mondays or Sundays. Everyone knows no good sushi restaurant is open on Mondays or Sundays. They get their stuff Tuesday from Japan, and so you can only eat at sushi restaurants Tuesday to Saturday. Everyone knows this.
All sushi in the United States is frozen before it is.
Anyone who is anyone.
And I was even having cooked sushi.
Was it cooked?
Yeah, it was shrimp tempura.
Oh, it's even worse. It's even worse. Let me ask the chat. Chat, have you ever heard of this theory that you cannot have sushi on
it's not
Sundays or Mondays?
I've heard this. It's based around the schedules of the delivery. That makes
When
a lot
you
of
have
sense.
a microwave, you can tell me when I can eat my sushi.
Wow.
Frank,
Okay.
you microwave the sushi? Is that the move?
Yeah, that's so weird. Why would you microwave sushi? Frank?
I don't have any comments.
You don't have anything? Anyway, that's very exciting. And again, Andy Foster proving to be ahead of the curve when it comes to these things. So I'm excited about that. There was some other breaking news that we woke up to this morning, Frankie. So one of the interesting things about the era that we're living in is that, WWE signs a deal with Netflix. Now, anywhere in the world, if you have access to Netflix, you can now watch Raw on Mondays, and anywhere outside of the United States, whether you're in Japan or Australia or Brazil or Canada, you're watching WWE on Netflix. Raw, SmackDown, PLEs. It seems as though the UFC, for the first time in their history, they are going to enjoy the same kind of luxury. And it's always easier when everyone is kind of playing by the same rules, same platform from a marketing and messaging standpoint. And so we have seen, obviously, the deal with Paramount Plus here in the United States. They have to wrap up some of their other deals. And I would suspect that they're going to try to replicate the WWE model, which is have it all under one, umbrella on one platform. And we've seen the next shoe to drop, which is Paramount Plus in Australia and Latin America will now be the home of the UFC starting in 2026. There it is. A press release issued this morning. Paramount, a Skydance corporation, and the UFC, world's premier mixed martial arts organization, today announced a 7-year, so same amount of years, which would make sense. It would align. Multi-territory expansion of their partnership, securing UFC media rights for Paramount Plus across Latin America and Australia starting in 2026. This agreement expands upon the landmark 7-year media rights partnership announced this past August, in which Paramount Plus becomes the premier destination for UFC fans as the exclusive home of all UFC events in the US starting in 2026. The partnership with Paramount has already been incredible, and it just continues to get bigger and better, said UFC President Dana White. He continues, they're now taking on new territories like Latin America and Australia, and this thing is just going to continue to grow. It just shows you how aggressive they are with the business, and I love it. I can't wait to continue working together and building the next generation of talent all over the world. So if you are someone in Latin America, for example, the UFC was on Fight Pass in Brazil. That comes to an end at the end of the year. If you're a fan in Australia, comes to an end at the end of the year, you'll now be able to watch it on the same platform that we will be able to watch the UFC here in the United States. No pay-per-view, paywall, none of that stuff. Numbered events, fight nights, all of them will be on Paramount Plus, including the big ones that will be on CBS. Those will air on Paramount Plus as well. So I would assume as the other, and they haven't always given us the time frame for some of these deals. Like I can't find for the life of me the length of the TNT Sports deal in the UK. I could probably ask around and find out relatively soon. And I will do that, I promise you. Canada, they didn't announce, but the point is once those start to wrap up, I wouldn't be surprised if Paramount Plus is available in those markets. And I think that it is available all over the world. I could be wrong about that. Let's see. Does anyone even know the answer to that? Is Paramount Plus available all over the world? No. Wait, what just happened? It's not available worldwide due to licensing agreements. It is accessible in many countries across North America, South America, Europe, and Australia. It doesn't give us, but I suspect they'll want it to be. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting if you're a fan living in Australia and or Latin America. I also saw something that was very nice to see. It warmed my heart. It was great to see Nobuyuki Sakakibara, the brains behind Ryzen, which is enjoying an amazing run as of late, and I think spearheading a renaissance of mixed martial arts and combat sports in Japan, who was a part of Pride way back when, part of Dream as well. Saw him linking up with one of the faces of Pride from back in the day, the great Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Big Nog. Look at this. He says, our fellow Pride creator, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, came to our office. It's been about 18 years since I last saw him. How about that? Big Nog involved in so many classic fights with Sakakibara back in the day. While reminiscing with him, I was delighted to hear him say, quote, I want to give something back to Japanese martial arts. He also said, I want to recommend some young and talented fighters to Ryzen. A new jiu-jitsu magician following Nogueira's legacy might one day appear in the Ryzen ring. Thank you, Nogueira, for taking the time to visit us. Ah, that's wonderful. Love that. That's amazing stuff. I am dying to go to a Ryzen event. Ryzen, KSW, Octagon, those are the three on my list. Now that we've crossed off BKFC, we've crossed off another one recently. Those are the ones that I am dying to go to right here and now. Okay, still to come, Fabio Wardley is going to join us to talk about his big win over Joseph Parker over the weekend. But my friends, now let us talk to a great Canadian man who is on some kind of roll as of late, especially since moving down to 135 pounds. He scored a impressive guillotine choke in November of this past year, 2024. So almost exactly a year ago to the day, November 2nd, 2024, he submitted Victor Henry in his UFC bantamweight debut via guillotine. And then he returned 2 weekends ago in Vancouver against Davey Grant, landed a beautiful, beautiful flying knee, and then submitted him via guillotine choke. Charles Air Jourdain, the pride of Quebec, is kind enough to join us on this Tuesday. There he is. Hello, Charles. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on all your success. I love this this room that you're in here, this vibe. What is this? Where are we right now?
A little office space. I bought a home a year ago because I had my first son, and I was living in an apartment. Now I got my house, and I always wanted my little office. And that was a fan who drew a picture of me, and my fiance framed it for me. So
wow.
A little office.
I love it. I love it. And congratulations on all the great things happening in your life, from, fatherhood to the winning streak as of late. By the way, in Montreal or outside of Montreal?
Montreal.
All right. Le 5-4. I like it very much. So let's talk about the move to 135. Why did you decide to do it around a year ago?
So when the UFC called me, at first I did my debut at 155 against Desmond Green. And I had to eat burgers to make weight. I was never a big featherweight. I was not a lightweight, of course. And I spent a lot of time in Thailand. And in Thailand, they don't cut much weight. They just fight to the best of their ability. And it was something that I thought would be good. And I'm not looking at my past experience at featherweight as a bad thing. I think I was forged in a different fire. So now the run at 35 will be quite different than the run at 45 and 55. So yeah, it just happened when I lost to Jean Silva, which is a very good, very strong fighter. It was the only time in my life I got TKO'd, and I realized, okay, there's too much of a gap. I cannot rehydrate to 152, 153 pounds and fight these guys who look like 170, 175-ish. So yeah, Jean knocked some sense into me of going to 135.
How tough has the cut been these last two times?
Actually, it was easier to do 135 properly with the UFC PI, the water loading, the way that you cut. Like this week, 2 weeks ago in Vancouver, people say, oh, it looked difficult, but actually my body was just shedding the weight so easily. The first time it was special, let's say, but not too hard. It was necessary. But this time, I think by every 30 minutes, I was losing like 6 pounds. So I did 30 minutes on a blanket with a 10-minute bath before, and I was already losing close to 8 pounds in those time, and it never happened like that. So even like butching 145 was more of a pain in the ass than doing 135 properly.
Wow, that's interesting. You hear that from time to time. I don't know why that is, but perhaps the body adapts in different ways. This is now, I think, the third occasion in which you've won back-to-back fights in the UFC, but you've never gone back-to-back-to-back. How badly do you want that next one?
Oh, I need it. Just to prove that the 35 run is the good one. I'm very happy, like I said earlier, that I was forged. Like I remember Davey Grant is very famous they call him a very hard hitter, and he hit me once, and I'm like, this is nothing compared to Shane Burgos, Duo Choi, Jean Silva, the guy that I've been at war with. So it's quite interesting to feel the power of these 35er, because I'm not the biggest 35er. I'm 155-ish in the cage, probably like between that and 158. And I saw some guys like Sanhagen. Sanhagen looks big. There's Son Yadong looks big. Merab looks big. But in terms of me fighting guys who were much bigger, that makes it even more interesting for that run. But yes, I need the third time victory for once after 6 years in the UFC.
Okay, so you're talking about the different powers that you're dealing with, the bantamweight power, but also what about the dad power that you possess? I loved hearing after the fact, as a proud father of 3 as well, of how it has changed you, becoming a father, how it has changed you as a human being, how the way you look at fights, what it's done for you personally. Can you expand on that? How are you different as a person since becoming a father?
I think forgetting yourself is the best thing that can happen, because you're always, oh, am I tired? Am I this? Am I that? And you're always self-centered too much. But having a boy or a girl or just a kid, you'll do everything for them. That being said, forgetting about myself, like now I can sleep 4 or 5 hours. I don't mind, as long as I can work hard. I don't mind. There's so many things that I don't look inwards. So I think a lot of depression and a lot of bad things come from the fact that you're always like, oh, I need this. Oh, it's all about me, myself, and I. But now it's not about that. It's about my wife and my kids now. And forgetting about myself made me such a tremendous hard worker, because I'm working for something bigger than myself.
Beautifully said. You also shared how much you've grown, how much you've evolved over the past 8 years recently on social media, which I thought the breakdown of that was very interesting. Here you go. 8 years ago, UFC was a dream. You were a blue belt, center left, no MILF. Today, UFC check, black belt check, extreme right, turbo hot blonde MILF. I'm sure that's a compliment to your fiance. Probably the second to last one is the most interesting one, but maybe that's for a different program, going from center left to extreme right. But do you feel like a completely different person?
Yes, but everything you see on social media, people are smart enough to know that we do this for, let's say, sponsor purposes. And as much as people think, oh, saying stuff like that would be considered bad for sponsors, they really like it. They like people who are going over the edge. Of course, I from, let's say, 2021 to 2022, I politicized a lot my social media because of COVID, because of all of this, and it was a mistake. It's okay, it was experience, but now when I write stuff like that, people know it's like, man, at the end of the day, I fight, I make money, and then I come back home and spend time with the people that really matters in my life. So when you see a post like that, of course, it's a little pulled by the hair. I'm not extreme right, I'm not center left, I'm just a fighter having fun. And some people are triggered by it. And I'm like, dude, internet's not the real world at the end of the day. It's just a facet that that you can use to make, like I said, more money, because UFC pays a lot. But why spending so much time on social media if you cannot take away something from it?
It's funny that you say that, because I do remember a few years ago, I found that you were like very provocative on social media and trying to say things. Do you regret any of that? Do you wish that you didn't go that route?
It's youth, it's experience, and that's why I feel when 22, 23-year-olds are quite vocal without understanding properly how things work and the order of things, and it comes from, I don't know, wanting to make noise. Yeah, I lack confidence. I did it. It was stupid, and now becoming a father as well helped me realize what's truly important. And I won't change the world with social media posts. Like, you can be whatever you want at the end of the day, as long as you don't bother my ship and my family is good, we have no problem.
Was there ever a point where you thought, because you couldn't go on a long run in the UFC, that you were worried that they wouldn't keep you around, that you'd have to build yourself up elsewhere? Or did you always feel secure thus far in your, with your spot in the company?
Yeah, of course, maybe having the loss maybe triggered me even more. And like, let's say, it sounds stupid, but it's a good example. Like me not organizing my finance properly, I was like trying to blame, oh, it's the Canadian government and and I was blaming everything, and because I was in a bad spot. So yeah, that's a valid point. I never dig around it too much, but that's actually a very valid point. And now that I'm on a nice run, 35, father, bigger than I ever been in terms of physical shape, working a lot with the UFC PI, who are a tremendous team. It's incredible. They call you every week to make follow-ups on you, and I can't believe I had access to all of that, and I denied it, but because I was playing video games, going to UFC, fighting, losing split decision to Burgo, split decision to Philly, blaming everything. I was a kid, but now the kid is gone and the man appeared.
And by the way, did anyone help change that mentality, or is it just a byproduct of getting older and evolving?
Byproduct.
Okay.
People around were saying stuff to me, but I'm the type of guy who I need to know fire burns by putting my hand on it. So I was a little bit stubborn, let's say.
Okay. And I would imagine seeing your brother do so well recently on Contender Series, winning the contract. Would you say it's Louis or Louis?
Both works.
Okay. Well, I'll call him Louis because he's from Quebec. To see him realize his dream now, and for you to be,
Yes.
two Canadian brothers, the first in the history of the sport, coming from Canada in the UFC together. What did that do to you before your fight as well? I'm sure that motivated you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Louis is a symbol of resilience. We started together. We did our pro debut together, went to Thailand for camps. Like Louis has always been with me. But it felt at some point where Louis was always a passenger on my boat. But when he won, I felt like Louis is now the captain of his own story. So as an older brother, it was quite liberating for me to see him accomplish his path, and how much, like, he had knee surgery. He had so many stuff throughout his career, and he never gave up. So I'm of course, as a brother, I think it's top 3 best moment of my life, seeing my brother accomplish himself.
Wow. So you've been in the UFC for quite some time. I think 16
Yes.
fights total, and you're only a
Yes.
year older than him. You just mentioned a knee surgery. Is that why it took him so long to get here as well?
Yes. It was the knee surgery, so he went to boxing a lot, and like, he didn't want to do the surgery, so he went to boxing for the time his knee would heal, and then he was preparing for a very important fight, and the knee gave out, so he had to wait. It went out. It was quite an adventure for Louis. But resilience is your ability to fall and bounce back, and Louis rose to the occasion. And Dana White called his performance a masterpiece, because the guy was a jiu-jitsu artist, and we finally submit him after dismantling him with calf kicks, boxing, everything. So I think everything happens for a reason. Just like me going to 35, him going through all that adversity, like, now we feel very prepared for what's coming in front of us in the UFC.
Being in his corner for that Contender Series fight at the Apex, what were the emotions that you were feeling beforehand? How anxious were you? How nervous were you for your brother?
Now I'm very, like, if he wouldn't have his contract, I felt like maybe there's the light above would be sure that it was the right thing for the rest of his life. I'm not clinging too much to professional prowess, let's say. So if Louis would have lost the contract, I know there would be something good waiting for him in a different professional setup. But now he won, and now he's going to the UFC, and I have very much confidence and faith. I think they say God has a good plan for us, and we need to have confidence in the light.
Back in the day, you fought, I do believe, on the same TKO card way back in the day,
Yes.
right? I've talked to some brothers who don't like to fight on the same card, especially in the UFC. I remember famously Sergio Pettis losing, Anthony Pettis having to sit there and watch his brother get knocked out, and then he lost the belt later in the night. And he said he would never want to do that again because it messed him up. How would you feel about fighting on the same card as your brother?
It's a very good example, because when we talked about it, we talk about that specific example because me and we are such crazy fans of the Pettis brothers. But no, us, we go and we accept our fate. Like, there was a famous line in what's it called? Anyway, it was a series that we liked a lot, and he said a man must accept his fate or be destroyed by it. So if Louis lose, it's part of the game, and if Louis wins, it's part of the game. So we have a lot of confidence in each other, and whatever outcome, we'll just get out of it stronger. So I wouldn't say, because there was nights, like, it's interesting, from TKO nights, there were nights like me, Louis, Barrio, and Cyril Gane were fighting, and now we're all in the UFC now.
And what about that? And what about the fact that there is no TKO anymore? I know there are other organizations, the Samurais of the world and the Unifieds of the world. How do you feel about the state of MMA and not the UFC, but like the regional promotions within Canada, and in particular in Quebec? Because, as you know, dating back to UCC and then TKO, Quebec used to kind of be like the crown jewel of Canadian MMA, and I don't know if that's still the case. You're there, so you would know better than I. How do you feel about the state of it in Quebec and then throughout the rest of the country?
So there's two. There's Ontario. They have Unified. That it's a very good promotion because they make very intense fight. But when it comes to Quebec, the owner of Samurai, Daniel Lafont, is a fantastic man, works very hard for the athletes. But like when we had COVID, there was a certain amount of gyms that were open. So all the guys became friends. And now we don't have rivalries. So now we just have a couple of dudes fighting Mexican guys or French guys. So there's no like intensity. It lacks a bit of juice. But a couple of times they did cards where there was let's say regional beef, and that was so good. But a lot of times the guys are like, no, I'm close to UFC now. Give me a guy who has from Brazil who's 11-15. It's like, why would you do that? And then after that, they take the mic and they call for a UFC shot. It's like, that was not the TKO days. My manager, Stéphane Patry, which you know him, is when you would say, oh, no, I don't like this fight. It's like, okay, call me when you want to fight.
Yeah.
And then hung up. That was the deal. If you want to fight, you fight the best guy in the division or the closest to you, and that's how it goes. Just like right now, like a lot of people are telling me you should talk about Chito Vera. Chito Vera is so far away from me. I know he's mad about Canadians about the loss with Ayman. He's like, there was one Canadian judge, But I'm not shooting over my head. Me, I'm very happy with aiming towards the top 15. But if they would say, no, you're fighting another guy, I don't mind. I think the UFC are very smart in the way they're handling things. And I think I have very much confidence in their matchup ability.
And so perhaps that's why you called out, or you said you wanted to fight Marcus McGee next. That's the guy. Is that how you're still feeling?
Oh, absolutely. Why Marcus McGee? Because I don't feel like he's called out by a lot of fighters, because he just had a very competitive fight with Peter Yan, and not a lot of people make competitive fight with Peter Yan. And I like his style. I think the first time I was like, okay, I need to fight this guy one day is when he finished Gaston Bolanos. Gaston was a guy that I looked at. He was training with the crazy guys in California, like Joe Schilling, Kevin something, all these guys back then. And I was on YouTube watching them. So seeing a striker like McGee destroy an artist like Gaston, I was like, okay, I need to try my striking against him. Of course, it's an MMA fight. But as soon as I saw this fight, even as a 45er, I was like, I need to get my hand on this guy one day. I think fate is working in mysterious ways. That would be interesting. There's also Kyler Phillips, who's number 14. And we'll see what the UFC says. If I can knock on the door of the top 15, I would be quite happy.
So speaking of those turf wars that perhaps bring out more fans, I know you don't train at TriStar. And so what would happen if, like, next year the UFC comes to Montreal and they say, Charles, we want you to fight Ayman Zahabi? Would you take that fight? Would you be okay with that? You're both at 135 now, and I feel like that would be a huge fight in Montreal.
We were together yesterday because we were filming a show in Quebec, and we talked about it. I think we would do it for, let's say he wins the belt and I become a guy up there. We would do it for art purposes. Like, we're both fan. Like yesterday we were exchanging about how he moves, everything. I'm a big fan of the art part of martial art, and Ayman is such a fun puzzle to look at. I really like his style, and I would do it for martial art purposes. But in terms of the man, like yesterday, we talked about after the show, and this guy is pure, man. I can't understand how much people are disliking or saying bad comments towards him. Like, the guy had 2 split decision wins, but I've been through split decision. It's part of the game. It's just, you cannot like, if you have someone to hate on the judge if you don't like the decision. And I think most of the people who are mad is just because they were betting, let's say, on Marlon to win, and their parlay or something got messed up by the judge or whatever. So I think Ayman is a fantastic fighter, 7-fight win streak, and I couldn't be more happier to see what they're going to do with him coming up next.
Yeah, I think the judges are sort of like faceless names, so no one knows where to direct their hatred towards. You're 100% right about the betting, and it just so happens that those 2 fights were against beloved fighters, right? Jose Aldo, Chito Vera, who have fan bases. I don't think anyone hates. There's nothing to hate about him personally. Like, he's such a likable guy. He's such a nice person. I just think that they take their frustrations out on him. But I understand that you would not want to fight him unless it's for the belt, and right now it's not an issue that you have to necessarily deal with. What do you think, since it's your weight class, Merab against Yan 2 in December? What do you think about Merab taking on this fight 2 months? It will be 2 months after his last fight, 4 title defenses in 2025, and him fighting Yan again. Who do you think wins?
I'm going with Merab. The reason why is he's been on a fantastic tear, and also it's so good for our division to have such an active champion, because you look at the top 10 and you feel like, man, he's destroying everybody. So now you can be, let's say, number 7 and have your shot next because he just beat all the guys who are above you. I think he lacks Sonia Dong, and I don't think there's many people up there that hasn't fought Merab, that Merab hasn't beaten yet. So yeah, I'm a enormous fan of Peter Yan. I think it's a work of art mixed with violence every time he fight. But I think Merab has just this factor where I think we need some sort of a Topuria against Volk. Like we felt like Volk was an impenetrable fortress until Ilya arrived, and I think we need someone who hits quite hard. And right now in the bantamweight, there's not many people who hits that hard to stop the machine. So I'm going with Merab.
Yeah, Song and Figueiredo. Those are the only two right now as far as the top dogs that he hasn't fought. And perhaps you'll have to fight Umar again after his win this past weekend. Did you see that fight, by the way? And were you impressed by Umar?
Interesting fight, but the thing with Umar, we were talking me and Ayman yesterday, is it's something to lose to Merab. So what's his name? Umar still had that not undefeated, but that crazy aura about him. But now seeing what Batista did, I think it gives a lot of confidence of the guys in top 15 aiming at Umar now, because they're like, okay, it's something to lose to Merab, but that was a very close fight, and he got dropped with the knee, and of course he stayed up and he went through adversity. But now you feel like, okay, he's more beatable than we thought.
By the way, a very hot topic is what transpired in the main event. How do you feel about everything that happened with Cyril and Tom and the eye poke? As a fighter who has been there so many times before, what is your stance on all of that?
I'm a quite lucky guy. I've never been a high poke, but yeah, I've exchanged with many fighters about it, and they say, yeah, it can completely ruin your vision, but it's like, even if it's a punch, it can blur out that what happened to me. It was not a finger, it was a punch, and my eye couldn't see because it hit like some sort of a nerve, and of course you need to go through it. It's very hard to have a saying about it. It's quite unfortunate, and people say, oh, Tom should have kept going. Of course, I felt like the fight was not going his way. I think Cyril looked fantastic in those 2 minutes, but it's very hard to have an opinion. Of course, we want the baddest man alive to go through adversity, but it happened the way it did, and it's quite unfortunate.
What about this opinion? Just curious. My stance is, anytime there's a foul in the cage, there should be an immediate point deduction. This thing where we're like warning fighters 2-3 times after eye pokes, low blows, grabbing the fence, whatever it is, to me, the warning should be in the back. Don't do it. It's a 15-minute fight or 25 max. You do it once, we're taking away a point, and I think that would stop fighters from being so reckless, or at least trying to get an edge by cheating, by doing illegal things, whether knowingly or not. What do you think of that?
I totally agree with you. Because before every fight, there's a referee that comes to warn you about every foul that can be achieved if you're not doing your things properly. So you already have the warning. That's an excellent point. That people think, oh, you just see the referee in the octagon. No, he comes to see you before every fight. He comes to see you. He comes to see your opponent, and you go all over the rules. So I couldn't agree more. It should be right away. And also you have access to camera right away, because let's say you can hit a guy to the belly, let's say a little bit lower. It happens, I think, Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone. Then Donald tipped him, and Donald Cerrone had those stab kicks. And you can see Jim Miller start protecting his nuts, and he's like, oh, no, and fall to the ground. But if you look at the replay, it was right above. There was no cup shot. And it just caused a vibration that makes all this area hurt. So of course your balls hurt, but that was not a nut shot. So now that they have access to camera right away while the guy is recovering, you can see if it was a foul or not. And if it's a foul, you should take a point immediately. I couldn't agree more.
Wonderful. I have to say, your evolution really comes through the screen here. It's wonderful to see how much not to say that you were a bad guy before, but it's just a whole different demeanor and vibe coming out of you here. The success that you're having in the cage, at home, in your personal life, it's all coming through in the most beautiful way. So congratulations, Charles, on everything going on in your life, all your success. Well done. Keep representing Montreal on the biggest of platforms. It's great to see, and I'm looking forward to a big year from you come next year. All the best, and great to have you on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
There he is, Charles Jourdain, now 2-0 in the bantamweight division. And yeah, if you follow him on social media and whatnot, you can see there's a great evolution. There's a great maturation there. So kudos to him. Still to come, Fabio Wardley is going to join us. But as we are speaking about maturation and evolution, we didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday, but Conor McGregor did make some headlines over the weekend at the BKFC event in Rome, talking about his maturation and evolution. Want to play this clip and then react to it on the back end? First off, here it is.
Do you feel that there is a connection between your journey and the spirit of BKFC in some way?
For sure, for sure. I am not here just by chance. There is a higher power, God, that dictates my journey and all of our journeys. And I live my life by God's word. And since around that time that you mentioned at the last event, I've engaged on a spiritual journey. And I'm saved, I am healed. And on the back of that, the world is in for a treat. The world is in for a treat. My competitive spark that was once in my heart is now a roaring blaze. So I'm very excited. I envy these men up here on this dais. They're right about to make weight, and they're to go in and enjoy and entertain and do what they were called to do, as am I called to do it. And I'm eager to get back. And right now I had to dial myself in and go inward. And that I done. And I'm very, very excited to come back my own self.
So here's what I'll say about that. Number one, it does come across to me like he's a lot more chill, right? We're not seeing the guy that we saw at the press conferences a couple of months ago with Mike Perry and whatnot. And he has, at least for now, stayed true, to the announcement that he was going to go off social media. He was going to go dark. He hasn't posted anything on X or Instagram or anything like that. But I will also say, and I think that he would agree with me, I don't think that he would think it's an unfair thing to say, actions speak louder than words. We have heard things like this from not only him, but athletes of all kinds over the years. And ultimately, you have to walk the walk. You could say this, you could talk about changing and spiritual journey, and the fans will want to believe you. Some of the fans, others will roll their eyes and say, yeah, we've heard this before and we don't believe you. But you have to sustain it over a prolonged amount of time, and you have to keep doing it. And you have to come back and fight, and you have to actually back it up, and you have to stay out of the headlines, and you have to stay out of trouble, and you have to just stay on the straight and narrow. And so if you are a fan of his, like I said a couple of weeks ago, you should be happy he's off social media. And if you are a fan of his, you should be happy that he is sounding this way. And if you are a fan of his, you should be happy about these words. But ultimately, I don't blame anyone who sits back and says, all right, show us. I'm not celebrating just yet, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to pat you on the back just yet. Actions speak louder than words. And so there are promising signs. If you are hoping that he'll return next year, if you're hoping that he's going to fight on the White House card, if you're hoping that he can some way, somehow, I don't even know if it's possible, get back to the old Conor McGregor. I don't know if that's even possible because of how much has happened in his life, but these are promising signs. I would venture to say, if it wasn't for his involvement in BKFC, we probably wouldn't hear or see him all this much, right? Like, we wouldn't see him in Newark, New Jersey. We wouldn't see him in Rome. And so that would even be more powerful, but we are getting a chance to hear from him from time to time these days. And there are promising signs, but I don't think that we can celebrate just yet. I don't think we can say, oh, he's back just yet, just because he says he's back. Now, this has to last for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a lifetime, not just months, a lifetime. This has to be the turning point. Everything that transpired over the past year has to be the turning point. Otherwise, it's all for naught. And so, as I've said time and again, I do believe that he is sincere in his desire to fight on the White House card. And I do believe that the White House officials want him to be on that card. And I believe that the UFC would want him to be fighting and on that card as well. But that card is still, some 8 months from now. There's still a lot of days, a lot of nights to come and go. And so he has to stay true to it. He has to back up those words. The voice sounds a lot calmer. He does seem a lot more chill. He does seem happy with his family, all these things, but we're getting tiny, tiny snippets. That's a 2-minute clip. These are videos that are popping up here and there. So interesting to see. Hope for his sake and for his family's sake, he is able to turn the corner and become a better person and become free and become, as he said, spiritually cleansed and all this stuff. But ultimately, actions do speak louder than words. And I don't think that that's some crazy stance or anything like that. But that's kind of, all right, this is better than the version that we saw when Perry's up there and they're yelling at each other and he's getting all fired up and I don't think that's the version that you want to see right now. This to me is the more promising version.
No problem, mate. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go, Frank. Do you agree with me? Do you think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it remains to be seen, but I suppose if you're a fan, promising signs.
Definitely. I mean, the first thing is just his demeanor was completely different than some of the high energy that we've seen. So I think he's speaking truthfully, but again, as you said, actions are going to speak louder than all of that.
Yeah. And it's 8 months. It's not like he's fighting next month. So if he wants to be on this card, and especially, I would imagine that the White House is going to have some kind of say in, the characters that are on this card. Like they don't want any I would think you don't want any sort of controversy attached like a month before the fight. So this would be a good time to stay on the straight and narrow. I was thinking about yesterday Dana White's sort of frustration in that post-fight press conference. And I was wondering if like him saying, it's such a pain in the ass that, we have to rebook this. Is it possible it's because he did have some grand plan to try to book Tom versus John, and now because they have to run it back, that goes out the window? Because otherwise, like, why was he so upset that he had to rebook this? It's infinitely more interesting than any of the other fights that were on the table for Tom Aspinall. Like we said, Tom versus Volkov 2 wasn't exactly, blowing the doors off of any arena. And so I do wonder if he had something up his sleeve and now he feels like this has thrown a wrench in it. They could do whatever they want. They could give him step aside money. They could do it. They could say, you got next. There's no rule, but it is interesting when I was saying, like, why was he so upset? Why was he so frustrated? Is it maybe because he had some big plan for Tom, or is he just annoyed by how it all ended? I don't know. Or is he annoyed by some of the things that Tom and his dad said last week and he wasn't in a mood to defend him? Who knows? All right. While that was all happening on Saturday, of course, over in London at the O2, it was a tremendous fight as far as heavyweight boxing is concerned. Perhaps the best fight of the year. It was one that we were looking forward to. There was obviously a lot at stake. It was at the O2. It was the Pride of Ipswich going up against the Pride of Auckland. It was Fabio Wardley against Joseph Parker. And it was for the WBA and WBO interim heavyweight titles. In the end, Wardley wins via 11th round TKO, and it would appear as though he has punched his ticket to the big fight against Alexander Usyk, but Usyk could just, even though the WBO has ordered that fight, he could just say, like, peace, I'm out of here, and do whatever he wants. So let's see what it all turns into. For now, though, let us speak to the man who scored that big win on Saturday in London, the one and only Fabio Wardley, kind enough to join us on this Tuesday evening. Hello, Fabio. How are you?
I'm good. How's things? How are we doing?
All good. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And congratulations on what I would think, at least from afar, and I'd love your take on this, the biggest moment, the biggest day of your professional life. Would you say? I know you recently became a dad, so congratulations. I would never put anything over something like that. But would you say that was the greatest moment of your career so far?
Yeah, of course, 1000%. Especially professionally within my career, there's not been a bigger fight I've had, not a bigger moment, not more at stake. So yeah, look, everything was on the line on Saturday and it was a fantastic night.
How were you feeling going into it? Were you feeling that pressure? Were you feeling those stakes? You have been in big fights before. You just fought at Portman Road against Justice Hooney, all that stuff and more. The Clark fight, all that. But were you feeling the step up in terms of stakes and competition?
In terms of the fight itself, I actually felt really relaxed, really calm. Camp had gone fantastic. I felt really good going into the fight. My body felt good. Conditioning, fitness, everything was hitting the right mark. So actually, I felt really good. That coupled with kind of the weight off my shoulders in terms of the expectation. Obviously, coming into this fight, I was definitely not the favorite. Everyone was pretty much picking Parker to win, take me out, maybe around the midpoint, something like that. No one really had much expectation of what I would do in this fight. So yeah, the kind of weight was off my shoulders. I could just float into this fight and do my thing.
Did it bother you that some were dismissing you? Did it bother you that the talk was, Parker wins, he'll get Usyk? Any of that stuff motivate you?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely didn't bother me. It was more the motivation factor of like, okay, fine, no worries. Just seeing the names, the lists of however I'm thinking, okay, Fabio's going to be done in 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Okay, he's not going to last. He's not going to be able to lace up Parker's boots. He's not going to be able to hold his own. All of those things were just kind of mental logs for me throughout camp. I was like, okay, cool. Everyone wait. I'll show you. It's no problem.
Much was made of the fact that Parker should have probably fought Usyk. For whatever reason, the fight didn't happen until he fights you. Were you surprised that he took this fight, that he risked it all against you?
Look, yes and no. Because one, I know what type of fighter Parker is. I know what type of man he is. He's ambitious, he's keen, and he's not shy of anyone at all. You know that from the resume of the fighters he's got on there. He's never shied away from a fight. So I didn't really think that he would be one to turn me down. Obviously, there might be hesitations considering the position he found himself in and where he was and edging his way to a fight of Alexander Usyk. I think no one could really begrudge him trying to work his way towards that. But him being the man he is, he took it, and all credit to him for that.
What did you make, especially in the early goings? You're in there with Joseph Parker, who's a seasoned veteran, who's on a great run as of late. Much was made of the linking up with Andy Lee and transforming him. Was he as you expected? Did anything surprise you about his technique, his power, anything about him, or was it kind of as you were dreaming and expecting going into it?
No, it all kind of felt as I thought it would. Look, the intensity of the fight, the pace of the fight, all of those things all kind of hit the mark. Like, you're in the big leagues, but I feel like I've been there. I feel like I'm used to it. It's nothing new to me. I do like to maintain that pressure and keep an energetic fight going. So whether it's against someone like a Joseph Parker or not, it wasn't a realm I wasn't unfamiliar with being in.
I want to be transparent with you, and I don't want to hide behind my feelings. I have been quite open about the fact that I thought that it was an early stoppage. In fact, I went as far as to say I thought it was an absurd stoppage. I don't think that by saying that, and I hope you don't take it personally, and I really appreciate you being here, I'm not taking anything away from you. I think you're an incredible fighter who has deserved this opportunity, and your fights have been phenomenal. But I thought that Joseph deserved a little bit more time, considering where he was in the fight and considering his career and how the fight was going. I'd love to give you a chance to respond and tell me why I'm an idiot for feeling this way, because I was quite open about it. And honestly, I do really appreciate you coming on with those feelings being so out there.
No, of course. Look, you and many other people, and this is nothing I hold against anyone. Everyone's allowed their opinion. Everyone's seeing it back. No one's there in real time. No one is Joseph Parker on the end of those punches, feeling those hits. And I know everyone takes it as, yeah, okay, he was up in the fight and it was a championship fight with how much was on the line. He deserves an extra go of it and a bit more time and this, that, and the other. But actually, when you look into it, the accumulation of punches he was taking, not only in the 11th, but also in the 10th as well, it was really kind of showing the sway of the fight and the way things were going. And it was only going one way. And yeah, okay, look, even if you concede and maybe you give him some more time, there's still a minute and a half left in the round. Now, I'm still on top. I'm still throwing punches. And look, for all that's on the line, I know everything that's at stake as well. And if everyone thinks that for the last minute or so of the round that I've got Joseph Parker hurt and I'm just going to take the round off and now relax and chill out, you don't know me at all. That's not how I'm going to go about things. I get the finish. I get the job done one way or another. So that's not to say that Parker is a great fighter, a great competitor, great to have on the night. But that fight by that point was only going one way.
One thing that I brought up as far as the finishing, there's no doubt that you were pouring it on, but the last punch that you threw, it looked like, at least from the vantage point, it looked like it missed. And I was surprised that Howard Foster would jump in with the last thrown punch being what appeared to have missed the target. Do you understand what I'm saying there? And do you understand why some people, including myself, would feel like maybe we needed to see a little bit more?
Yeah, of course, and it's much easier for everyone to look back at it in slow mo and go, well, that didn't clip him properly, and the one before did and didn't, and actually he was riding it better. But ultimately, the ref is there in the heat of the moment, and although Parker is taking some shots on the gloves, that impact is still carrying through. He's still buzzed, he's still rocked, he's still a bit uneasy on his feet, so he's not nowhere in an entirely safe position. And ultimately, as a fighter, we have a responsibility to show the ref. We can't just expect the ref to give us the benefit of the doubt and for him to do us a favor and just go, now I'm sure Parker's fine, or I'm sure Fabio's fine. He'll be able to carry on for another 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever it may be. We have a responsibility as fighters to show the ref as like, look, I'm still in the fight. I'm still here. I'm still game. I can still exchange.
Are you annoyed by any of this talk? Like when you see pundits like me speaking, do you want to smash our heads? Do you feel like it's taking away from your victory? I don't blame you if you do. You're the one out there involved in a war. Does any of it get you? Does any of it bother you? And if it does, I do apologize. That's not where it's coming from.
No, look, thank you. I appreciate it. But no, it doesn't upset me. It doesn't offend me. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's no problem for me whatsoever. Again, I just ask that people don't take away from what actually I achieved on the night, because going into that fight, no one even gave me a hope. No one gave me a chance. Everyone thought I'd be done for within 2, 3, 4 rounds, whichever else. So it's fair for everyone to say what they want to say about the stoppage, but just make sure that's followed by praising the accomplishment of the achievement.
That's 100% fair. I was curious, on the broadcast, Adam Smith said that at that point, 11th round, you were down 6 rounds on one scorecard, down 2, and then tied on the third. How do you feel about those 2, and in particular, the down 6 rounds? Did you feel like the margin was that wide?
Nah, definitely not. Look, I think for me, kind of my story now is being heavily told and my background and things like that, but also kind of the style of my fighting doesn't seem to lend well to judges and the way they kind of pick rounds and things like that. But also, I think that coupled with the fact that going into this fight, I was the heavy underdog, and it was so expected that Joe was just going to outbox me, teach me a lesson, take me to school, just completely whitewash me in the fight. So in some of those rounds that, look, I think between me and Joe, we've both said the fight was ebbing and flowing. It was back and forth. I was on top in moments. He was on top in other moments. And that lends to a relatively even fight. But in those even moments, I think a lot of those judges were giving Joe the nod because of kind of all that previous pedigree, background, and all that previous talk that he came into the fight with. So when I go into a fight, it's a bit of a hard one for me to expect the judges to kind of fall on my side in the sense of judging around in my favor.
And by the way, how are you dealing with all this newfound fame? I know how big boxing is in the UK, and you represent Ipswich, and the football club is so proud of you and really shines a spotlight on you. Like when you go back home now, when you go back to your neighborhood, is it suffocating? Is everyone coming up to you? How has it been?
No, I wouldn't call it suffocating. Look, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure, because it's so nice for everyone to be so supportive and everyone be behind me, and all to express that they watched the fight and their excitement and they were with their friends and cheering and this, that, and the other. It's a privilege for me to be at the front of things like that. But for me, it's just treating life normal. It's not getting too carried away with things. Look, I got home on the Sunday. There was still dishes that needed to be done on the side. There's still a baby that he's looking after who doesn't care whether I'm champion of what or who. It treats me all the same. So normal life for me, nothing too different.
And your baby, that's your firstborn, right?
Yeah, my firstborn.
So all the stuff that's happening to you this year, from fighting at, Portman Road to the O2 against Parker. This is a guy who you said you remember watching him, while you're sat in a pub. He's winning his first title. You haven't even started your pro career yet, your journey. You're a white collar boxer. This has been talked about, who turned into this great champion now. Is this all surreal? Like, how are you digesting all of this past year for you in particular? It seems like so many great things are happening. How are you processing all of it?
Yeah, I think 2025 will definitely be a year I remember for the rest of my life. There's been so many peaks of this year. Obviously, my first one being born, fight at Portman Road, obviously winning that in dramatic fashion and then following on to this fight as well. A dramatic fight for a variety of reasons, and then becoming WBO interim champion and lining up for a fight with Usyk. There's just so many things this year has had in store for me. So, yeah, I'm just trying to ride the wave and enjoy it.
How confident are you that your next fight is against Alexander Usyk?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Look, I know him and his team came out maybe a week or so before the fight and said, look, they were keeping a close eye on the fight and they were keen to take on the winner, whether it be me or Joe. And look, I've spent some time with them. I know them as a team, and I believe them to be men of their word. And I think that's something they will follow up on. But ultimately, Usyk is the big dog of the division at the moment. He does run the game, so it is up to him or whatever he wants to do.
You've trained with him in the past, right?
Yeah, I did 2 sparring camps out in Ukraine with him.
Wow. And what was that like? And how long ago was that?
It was probably about 2017, 2018. So it was a good while ago, a good 7-8 years ago. I was only 3-4 fights into maybe my professional career, something like that. So again, still very green, very novice-y, very much kind of finding my feet and learning my way. But it was a fantastic experience. The first time I really went away for a sparring camp. But I guess I must have done something to impress him first time around, because he had me back for a second go at things. So yeah, it was great to share the ring with him, sparring and learn and just pick things up from such an early point of my career.
What's interesting about that is you've improved exponentially since then. Do you think he's also improved that much since then as well?
Yeah, look, I think the rate of improvement between us is a bit different considering where I started and where he was in terms of when he entered professional boxing. The gaps kind of we had to make up are very different. But if you pick from where he was back when I was sparring him, he was I think he was going into his fight with Tony Bellew. And you can see massive improvements from that to where he is now. So, look, both of us have had a huge rise in the sport.
Frank Warren, your promoter, said that he thinks this can sell out Wembley. Do you agree with him? And is that where you'd like this fight to happen?
Yeah, look, I agree. The draw that is Alexander Usyk does a good job of helping that along the way. And then the entertainment factor that you get with me in terms of a fight. Look, I don't know a Fabio Wardley fight that hasn't been valued for money, and that's whether it ends in the first round or whether it ends in the 10th, 11th or 12th, whichever way it goes. But you're going to get your money's worth because it's entertaining. I'm a fighter for the fans. I want my name to be attached with excitement, to people to see my name at the top of a poster, a billboard, whichever else, and go, I want to watch that Fabio Wardley fight because he's always good, he's always entertaining. So those two things mixed together, all the belts on the line, undisputed, all of that, everything all wrapped up in one on top of a nice bow for Wembley, I think that does the job.
Did you even allow yourself to dream that big, or is this now all exceeding your own expectations, like Wembley, undisputed? Did you even allow your mind to go there as you were climbing the ranks?
Definitely not in the early days, no. Especially when I first started out, it was more of a case of, look, I'm happy to be here. Let me kind of take it as it comes. I just want to be involved in the sport. I love the game. And as things progressed, as I got better, as I progressed, I kind of looked around and said, you know what, I can do something here. I'm good. I can keep up with these boys to the left and to the right of me. All I need is the right opportunity to be able to prove myself, and I'll show people.
Realistically, when do you think this happens? If it is in Wembley, it would probably have to be spring, summer, right?
I think that's the most likely kind of time period. It's not going to happen anytime in the immediate future, anytime soon. Something like that. It's going to take a bit of time, bit of building. You want the kind of full rollout for a big fight like that.
Any injuries after Saturday?
No, actually, wow. I'm surprisingly good. Everything actually is really nice. Like, I don't get me wrong, I got a few bumps, bruises, whichever else, but actually, aside from that, I came out after 11 rounds feeling pretty fresh.
Do you chill out though a little bit? Like, how long do you spend away from the gym after a fight like that?
Like in terms of actually being out of the gym, maybe a week or two, something like that. But for me, training isn't just an in-camp thing. It's a all-round year kind of thing. Like, I'm always ticking over. I'm doing something. Don't get me wrong. I'm not 24/7 in kind of fight camp mode, just going to the wall with it. But I'm always ticking over, always making sure I'm fresh, prepared, and ready. Because ultimately, if Usyk calls tomorrow and says, "Yep, we want to get it on in 2-3 months or whatever, I need to be ready. I need to get going. So yeah, there can't be any hanging around.
We did speak to Joseph yesterday. He offered no excuses. Like anytime there was even an opportunity to say something, he repeated, I don't want to make any excuses. Much respect. He was as classy and professional as you would expect him to be. He did obviously say he would love the rematch. Are you open to that at some point? Would you like to fight him again? Is there any part of you that is interested in that?
Yeah, of course. I'd like to echo the same sentiment as well, because look, Joe is a great guy, and I'd like to thank him as well for the opportunity, because he didn't have to take that fight. I think everyone knows that. He'd been on a great run, and he was edging his way towards Usyk. So again, credit to him as a man and as a fighter, as a boxer, because he is one hell of a competitor. And yeah, look, I'd happily welcome the rematch. It was a fantastic fight. It was a great fight. I think that's one thing. The controversy over the stoppage aside, no one came away from that fight saying it was boring or it wasn't intriguing, wasn't interesting. It had, like I say, ebbs and flows all the way through. It had everything in that sense. So yeah, look, we'll see how this Usyk thing plays out. We'll see how that all goes. But I'd be happy to rematch him.
I don't know if you know this, you were locked in, but at the same time as your fight over in Abu Dhabi, another British heavyweight champion was fighting. He got poked in the eye. Did you happen to see that with Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, I saw some of it. I don't know the full details of everything that happened. Some people were mentioning bits to me after. I'm not a massive follower of UFC, but I did
Tom?
see the clips and bits. I don't know him. No, I haven't come across him.
Okay.
Which is a shame, to be honest, but no, not as of yet.
He used to train with the Furies, and his father actually wants him to go into boxing in the relative near future. So I was wondering if maybe you thought that he would have any success or not, based on what you've seen or trained with him if you have in the past. But it was interesting to see him fight over there. And obviously in your sport, you don't have to deal with those things, fingers in the eyes. You have to deal with other stuff as well, but not quite that stuff. Could I ask you before I let you go, Usyk has been so good, obviously at heavyweight and cruiserweight. When you see him fight, do you see holes that you would like to exploit? Do you see things in his game? Or do you not look at him that way just yet because he hasn't quite been on your radar yet?
Yeah, I haven't dug wrong. I haven't sat there and analysed or dissected kind of Usyk's fight style, whichever way. But I believe, look, it's heavyweight boxing, and anywhere in the game, I think I've proven if I'm in the fight, I'm on my feet and there's breath in my lungs, I'm a danger to anyone, whether that be Alexander Usyk or whoever else. It's a dangerous game. So yeah, look, if the fight comes, me and the team will put something together. There's nothing to take away from him. He is a generational talent, but he's also not like unbeatable. There is flaws there. Don't get me wrong, they're extremely hard to exploit, but they are there.
It's a fan-friendly style, but is it sustainable? Like, would you like to have more like your rematch against Fraser Clark, like a quick one where you're not taking the type of shots that you're taking against Justice and Joseph here? I'm sure your family would agree as well.
Yeah, I think if you ask my missus or my family, my mum or anything like that at all, I think they'd very much all like the kind of Fraser 2 fight where it's over and done in a round. And look, me as well, if they can all go like that, then I'd happily take that. But there's heavyweight boxing and these boys aren't soft. They take a bit of work.
What's going to happen with Ipswich? Are they going to make a run here in the championship? What's going on? They're struggling a little bit. I can't speak.
Yeah.
Forrest is doing awful as well, so I can't really say much. But at least we're in the Premier League.
I was gonna say, because last time I was on here, you had a lot to say about Forest.
Yeah.
You boys aren't looking too
at least we're up with the big dogs, though, right? I mean, at least that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, look, we're having a bit of a rocky start to things. It's not going exactly how everyone planned. I think there's that expectation when you drop down from the Prem that you're going to immediately fire back up. But I think it just proves how competitive the Championship is. Than some of them teams in there are class. So yeah, we're going to have to fight for it. But if I'm one bit of proof of us Ipswich boys, we know how to stick in for a fight.
I love that. Much respect. Means a lot, and I think it says a lot about you that you'd come on, given how vocal I was. Really appreciate the chat. Love watching you fight. Adored the fight, and have adored watching you over the years. So congratulations on all your success, and I hope you get that fight, and I hope it sells out Wembley, and you get everything that you have earned and deserved. Thank you so much, Fabio. All the best to you, and congrats again.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Okay, all the best. There he is, Fabio Wardley, now the interim WBO and WBA heavyweight champion, and the man who is next in line as a result of holding those two belts, unless Usyk just says, I'm not interested, I'm going to do something else. And if you ask me, I wanted to see Parker versus Wardley. excuse me, I wanted to see Parker versus Usyk, and way more than Usyk versus Fury 3. And I now want to see Wardley versus Usyk way more than I want to see Usyk. I want to see Fury versus Joshua, and I want to see, the rest of the division play out. Like, to me, there's no intrigue in seeing Fury versus... Those 2 fights were great, but he won them fair and square. There wasn't any controversy. He was the champion going into them, at least a unified champion, and let's move on with our lives. And every week it seems like he's back, he's not back. I'm talking about Tyson Fury here. Fabio, if you're unfamiliar, is a tremendous fighter, and that fight on Saturday was outstanding. As far as heavyweight boxing is concerned, it's the best that you can get. And his knockout of Fraser Clark in their rematch, their first fight, was a great fight as well. And a lot of people, including our friend Ariel Helwani, actually had it as their fight of the year. It was last March of 2024. But that was a split draw. This one was, I think it was on that October card. Right before we started. Was it the October card? Yeah, 2 days before Uncrowned started. The one with Beterbiev and Bivol won. That was the one where he knocked him out. You've definitely seen it. We actually talked to Brian Sutterer about it last year. And like his jaw got displaced and like something was popping out of his head. Fraser Clark, I'm talking about, because of how hard Wardley punches. He's now 20-0-1, the one being the first fight against Fraser Clark. It was a great fight. And I was kind of wondering, I was like, has he seen any of the comments or tweets? But again, I always try to be respectful. Look, he comes on. Other people, they don't come on. What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
Also, there's what's controversial about what you said, You thought the stoppage...
You've been here long enough. People take this personally. I mean...
For sure. But in this
Cyril's
scenario...
team is very mad at me. They're like, how dare you? How dare you? What have I said that's... I keep saying he didn't do it on purpose, but I still don't feel like intentional or unintentional is a thing. And I still feel like that should be a DQ. But I'm not saying that I thought he went in there to try and poke Tom in the eye or be dirty or anything like that.
Your commentary is not on Cyril, it's on the rules. It's a completely different thing. It has nothing to do with Cyril.
But people take it personally. You get messages.
Yeah, man. Wardley though.
What a gent. Can I tell you who he reminds me of?
Such a nice guy, but the last 2 fights.
Oh yeah.
Just absolutely down on the cards and summons it in late rounds. Like it's an impressive thing that is very rare to have that kind of...
No, he is right. Like, he is worth the price, whether it's pay-per-view or you're paying. He kind of reminds me of Robert Whittaker in how, like, nice, soft-spoken, gentle...
Always laughing, always smiling.
Yes, right?
That's also kind of vicious when they're in the arena.
That's the vibe that I got. And he's got a great backstory. It was just a white-collar boxer. I mean, no amateur career to speak of, and now... beating
Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
Maybe fighting Usyk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a really great story. And I don't like when the Queensberry guys asked me if I wanted him on, I said, yeah, of course. And I was just waiting for the message, honestly, because I'm so programmed for people taking commentary, which I always try to be fair and respectful, taking it personally. I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for them being like, yeah, actually, we heard what you said. We don't want to come on. And I hope this proves that I will say it, and I would love to hear why I'm wrong, because who the hell am I? Like, even yesterday, I reached out to DJ after, like I said, I didn't agree with him, and I was like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. And honestly, I should have said it before the show, and I felt bad about that. But I didn't think he saw it live, because I know he does other stuff, and I was like, I just want to give you a heads up. Like, I disagreed with you publicly. I feel like an asshole doing it because you're Demetrius freaking Johnson, but I want you to know that it's not from a place of malice or disrespect. I just want to, give you the heads up, and I'm telling you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and why I disagree. And he's like, yeah, of course, man. All good. That's how, like, kind of sane-minded people react. And of course.
Who, me?
Anyway, guys, it's Tuesday, and that means we have some questions to answer. And golly, do we have a lot of questions. I don't know why I did that. I didn't mean to do that. I was just playing with my... time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time. And what about me digging down deep after staying up till 3 a.m. watching that baseball game and here hosting this show?
Heroic
You wouldn't
effort.
even know. You wouldn't even know. Some have said it's Jourdain flu game-esque. Others have just said it's, just another day in the life.
It's George Springer just, leaning the wrong way a little bit. And
yeah, anything on that? I wonder. Did perhaps someone clipped it off and it went viral? Sutterer's take on it? I mean, it didn't sound good, if I'm being honest. No, I say that because, other members of the team be like, it was a pay-per-view. I'm not going to show up to do the show on a Monday. I need a 48 hours to 72 hour break. Any of those people?
Pizzi showed up.
Oh, he's here?
When's the last pay-per-view I got off, mate? What are you talking about? Last two of them. Pizzi, 1-2. What are you talking about? Every fucking time I'm here. I mean, I set these boundaries just so you can boot them over and then put up the Pizzi signal. And who's here every time? Me. Pizzi Carroll, that's who. Just because I don't like baseball, all right? I don't know what's going on. I tried to watch it. I turned it on.
Were you up?
I don't know what's happening.
When we were texting at about 2:30.
The goddamn Chiefs and the Washington Commanders, for God's sake.
No. This was now 2:30 a.m. By the way, I like that shot of the empty GC desk. We miss you, GC.
Empty? No, he's right there.
He's a bit under the weather, and we're wishing him the best. And we hope that he returns tomorrow or ASAP, because we do miss him, and hopefully he feels better. In fact, we're down 2 today.
Hang on, did he get a dose of the shits again?
Listen, I'll let him tell the story.
This is keep moving.
You have to say something, Ariel.
What we showed a shot of the empty.
I know, but now Pizzi's bringing up the shits.
All I'm saying is we miss him. What
I said Pizzi.
Well, Frank is blaming me, saying
your apologies, GC.
Why am I culpable?
Bell movements are very nice.
All I'm asking, PT, 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
As I'm rocking back and forth, nervous, but also more stressed about being up at 2:30 and knowing that I have to wake up in 4 hours. I actually was thinking of you. I was like, is this what PT does every freaking weekend?
No, 6 a.m. is what I do it till. 6 a.m. is what I do.
Yeah, but you also don't have to take, you don't have to wake up at 6:30 to do all the stuff that, us grown-ups have to do.
If I had to, I would though.
I know you
know what I mean? Because that's the type of guy I am.
You're 100% right. I have no doubt about it. Anyway, I was stressed about the game, but also stressed about the fact that I had to wake up 4 hours later. Are you awake at this point? Because you didn't say anything, so I wasn't sure. You're not awake.
I just, you're talking Brown in there about a sport I don't understand, and I was just like, you know what?
I wish we could get you into it.
I can't. It's a lot harder to get into, I feel, than the other American sports, because I don't know, they just do a better job of explaining. And this is America's pastime, right? So you guys probably grew up playing it. You know all the ins and outs.
Well said, yeah.
I don't know when it's a bad ball or it's a.
Well, there's something called a strike zone, and on the broadcast, and I'm not being facetious, there's a square, yeah. So when it's outside of the square,
it's more of a rectangle, but yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a rectangle.
But then sometimes they hit it and it doesn't count, and sometimes it does.
Foul ball, yeah.
No, the box is subjective, right?
Yeah, it's very subjective, especially yesterday.
It is supposed to
get more complicated already. More complicated.
The umpire, who in MMA parlance would be like the referee behind the plate, is calling it, right? So if it's in that box, if it's in that rectangle, it's supposed to be a strike. But sometimes it's not a strike.
And then it gets
a little dicey. What was the definition you gave me today, Rick, in the message group? I said, how do I know if it's a ball or it's a strike? And then you said
something about it has to be intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
yeah. Here's what you have to know though: a game is 9 innings. How many innings in a cricket match?
I mean, I'm from Ireland.
All right. Anyway, a game is 9 innings, which means both teams, go up at bat, 3 outs each. That's 1 inning. This one went 18, so it was 2 games in one, and it lasted 6 hours and 46 or so minutes, and it was long. And the crazy thing is, they're playing in 5 hours again. Now I know they're not soccer players who are running for 90 minutes and whatnot, but they were cramping up and all this stuff. There was something sort of I don't know how to explain it, but you're not usually watching sports here in America at 2:30 in the morning, and there was something kind of raw and visceral about it. I was like, it's me, it's Matcha. Matcha was up with me till the 14th, then she was out, and then I think she was kind of looking at me when are you going to leave already?
Is everything okay?
I was getting that vibe, you're usually not here this late. Can you please leave now? But it was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to Game 4. Anyway, let's get to the questions because we have a lot, guys. We have a lot here.
Can I just say
peace and love? Peace and love.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes.
Some of the lads, and I don't want this to come across as rude or anything. I'm sure lads don't care what I think, but athlete, interesting. You know,
Who?
Just some of the lads look like.
Which lads? Oh, the baseball players.
Yeah, they wouldn't like you if they walk past you in the street. You wouldn't be like, "There's an athlete." You know what I mean?
Oh, because like some of them are bigger.
Well, I mean, bigger is one way to put it.
Well, it's like football players, right? If you saw an offensive lineman walking down the street, you wouldn't necessarily be like, "Oh,
if he's 6'8",
yeah, he'd be a lot bigger."
Oh yeah, man.
Some of these lads just like
you
lads
look at
that
Alejandro Kirk, and the dude
no?
is like 5'6", and you know.
Yes, but Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Shohei.
He walks down the street.
You've heard of Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yeah, I heard he had the greatest game of all time was in the last series, right?
And so he's pitching tonight.
Yes.
He's pitching tonight again.
He had another one.
Terrifying.
He got on base 9 times last night.
Yeah. Well,
see, what does that even mean? I saw him running briefly
5 times.
Like, he did it. Yeah. He did it.
5 times he got on base by hitting the ball into play, and 4 times the Blue Jays put him on base intentionally. They allowed him to get on base.
I hope they don't throw a single pitch to him for the rest of the series. Just walk him every time. Just say, here you go, take first base, all good. Colin Avery's up first. Hello, Ariel and BITB. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that we'd like to see you stop saying how unbiased you are. We're all humans, and we all have our personal biases. Clearly, you are a huge Joseph Parker fan as a fighter in person, but acting like he wasn't getting pieced up shows a clear bias on your part. You clearly have favorites, and it's only normal to have favorite fighters, but I feel like you acting like you're totally unbiased is extremely disingenuous. Now, I appreciate your stance, and I will push back with something that I was thinking about yesterday because someone hit me up regarding this. And what they said to me was, you know, you're categorizing this the wrong way. We are all human beings, and inherently we all possess some kind of bias. But what you do possess is a fairness that other media outlets and members do not possess. And so to say that you are the most fair media member or media outlet out there is actually the bigger distinction. And I said, you know what, you're right. Because if you say that like, hey, I thought Joseph Parker's fight was stopped prematurely, you want to call that a bias? Even though I'm very nice and love Fabio Wardley, I have great respect for him as well. That's one thing. But can you ever say I'm unfair? Can you ever say that I even with Derek Moneyberg, was I unfair? Anyway, perhaps I'm changing the subject. I don't agree with you. I think Uncrowned is the #1 pound for pound unbiased outlet in combat sports. I think this show is extremely unbiased. I think that we just tell it like it is, and you may not like that is, and you may think that because, you know, you vehemently disagree with us, the only reason why that may be is because we are biased. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. Now, other people have, by the way, weighed in on this comment. Here's Irish Lad. Guys, and he says, ask him when was the last time he scored a fight for a Dagestani. So I guess the implication here is that I'm biased against Dagestani fighters, which always cracks me up when I hear this, when I hear biased against Chechnyans, Dagestanis, Muslim fighters. This always cracks me up because here I am the Monday after Shamaev versus DDP vehemently defending Khamzat, the way he fought, the criticism, all that stuff. No one bats an eye. No one uses that as an example. Here I am saying Movsar Evloev is getting screwed by not getting the title shot. No one bats an eye. By the way, Muslim, Dagestani, etc. Here I am saying Bilal Muhammad should have gotten a title shot long ago. No one bats an eye. No, but it's like you're critical. You dare criticize someone with a last name Nurmagomedov, and now all of a sudden you're the worst person on the planet. No, I think what we're actually proving here is that you are biased, Mr. Irish Lad, and all the other crazies out there. But the real ones know. Here we have another person saying, Ariel is definitely biased. And by the way, me even choosing to read these comments proves that I'm not biased, if you get what I'm saying. Ariel's definitely
You're very
biased.
fair.
He favors Leon, Dustin Poirier, Bo Nickel, Volk, and Aspinall. Okay. Here's another person. Yes, his take was OTT. It came across scary bias, and then he mentioned same ref from Froch Groves. No way does he remember that. That's often mentioned how Froch is a nobody. By the way, I never said that. I've always said Froch is a Hall of Fame fighter. I've always said that he had a great career, all this stuff and more. My only thing about Froch was twofold, and I don't want to reopen this, but it's one, he really wants a Jake Paul fight while he claims to not want the Jake Paul fight, and that he is not a draw in America. And his resume would back that up. That's it. So yes, here in America, he is not as well known as he is in the UK. And guess what? You could say the same about a ton of people, including Fabio Wardley and any footballer out there not named, I don't know, Mo Salah, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, and maybe a few more. You think Morgan Gibbs White is getting stopped on the street? Heck, didn't Hakimi and who was it? Was it Mbappe just like walk down the streets of New York and no one stopped them? Come on.
Remember when Mbappe went to the PFL event and he was flanked by all of his teammates and nobody mentioned that the rest of them were there at all. It's just like Mbappe's at the PFL. So
anyway, it's enough of that. Ariel, please elaborate. This is Steve Buscemi. Every eye poke, minor or major, should be a DQ win. Every guy that is brushed on the eye can now just say, I can't continue, and walks away with a victory on his record and his win money. How would that work in any capacity? That is flawed. Your quick fix doesn't come without problems. Everyone would just DQ their way to victories on a nutshot or eye poke. What I said was, you poke someone in the eye and that person can't, okay, sorry. Take a step back. You poke someone in the eye, immediate point deduction. Immediate point deduction. If that person cannot continue because of the eye poke, you win via DQ. And yes, are we to pretend that people don't embellish things in other sports? Are we to pretend that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't accused of drawing fouls, or that Jalen Brunson isn't accused of drawing fouls, or that Harry Kane isn't accused of drawing fouls? Yes, that happens all the time. But guess what? You got to deal with it, and you have to, as the referee, make the distinction. If you do believe that it was a truly legal foul, it's a DQ if the guy can't continue.
But when they embellish those fouls, they get penalized. The game doesn't end. When Jalen Brunson flops his ass off as he does, he gets penalized.
Fight on. Right? Fight on, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point.
That is the point.
Points taken away. It shouldn't be a DQ.
And also, people in MMA have gamed the system for years with the downed opponent rule. Like we've seen this happen already in the sport.
Come on. Triple double. The passion for Tom is clear as day. I am a big Tom fan myself, but your take is, as some would say, a bit biased.
Is this the only thing we've got on the nose today? Is it all just your
Where was this passion when Kevin Holland not only got fouled, but was told he would lose the fight if he was unfit to continue after getting kicked twice illegal? Did I not say that? Did I not say this last week?
You did say that.
I went off for it. You see, that's the thing. People just like pick and choose moments, and they don't actually go back and look that you were actually consistent.
Also, we didn't do a post-fight show for that one as well, which I think.
No, but on the Monday,
we talked about it. We had Malad on.
And I told him.
He said it.
Yes. But even before that, I said the way that was handled, I thought was wrong.
Yeah.
You should have the same energy. Well, I do have the same energy. Rick, we want to know if you have seen Shelby Oaks. If not, do you have plans to? P.S. Weapons was phenomenal. This is from Rick Takes.
I don't know what Shelby Oaks is. Am I an idiot here? Oh, it's a horror movie. I'm not even aware of this, but I will go see it now that you've said it. Looks like reviews are semi-decent. I'm in. I'll be watching Shelby Oaks, and I'll come back with a review.
And what's Weapons?
Weapons was either the #1 or #2 movie of the year for me.
Wow.
Sinners and Weapons. Those are the two in the running. Fantastic film by Zach Krieger.
Not Tron.
You see that DiCaprio one?
Yes. One Battle After Another. Quite good.
That was really good.
Quite good, but I have those two above it.
Dodgers suck. What is this TED 2 talk? You ended one of the shows last week saying, waiting for your response, TED 2. There was a guy on the chat I happened to see. Where is TED 2? Where
your one-sided rivalry with Ted.
There was this guy who said that, De La Hoya's like, when are you going to ask him real questions? And then I wrote back. Because the interview was playing, and so I was looking at the chat, and I said, what would you like for me to ask him that I didn't ask him? And then he just disappeared.
He disappeared,
and according to Olajuwon Dream here, he literally hasn't chatted since. Like, he just disappeared. And so I said,
maybe he's going to Oscar's house to ask him those questions? Is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, Grant Young. Hey, Ariel, Gary Copeland was great in the Uncrowned BKFC documentary. And by the way, thank you so much to everyone who watched it, who checked it out, who sent in unbelievable comments, feedback. I mean, what fuel for us. We're just getting started, like I said, but you do one of these, you're not sure if like 3 people are going to watch it or, whatever it is now. And not to mention like the social clips and all that stuff. So much love. And a big thank you to BKFC for just kind of letting us do whatever we wanted. Never asked, never questioned. And then the fighters, right? Like from Jeremy to Mike to Jessica Borga. to everyone in between. Like they were all just phenomenal. So yeah, shout out to everyone and thank you so much. Was his willingness to speak with you that night an indication that he might be open to being interviewed on the show? You know, I should have asked him for his phone number because he was really willing to speak to us. But I don't know. Would love to hear any MMA referee's perspective about everything going on. You know, from time to time, we have had Don McCarthy on. Yeah. We had Herb Dean on.
We've had Goddard before.
Truth be told, I reached out to Goddard and I wrote to him in my message that I thought this weekend was a great weekend for referees. I didn't get a reply back. But, you know, I would love to have referees on. The only one that's really like willing and transparent to come on, whether you agree with him or not, is Andy Foster. And to me, that's a huge asset because we're able to get some sort of explanation for things. And I don't think he sugarcoats. But yes, I would love to have him or anyone. He's got a very interesting, I think, backstory and take on everything. Here's Antoine Evans. Mate, I used to make my living figuring out what Dana White was really saying. Here's what I suspect was going on at the post-UFC 321 presser. Above and beyond him being miffed at Daddy Aspinall's thoughtless, quote, Tom's going to boxing comment. Dana had a plan in motion to make Aspinall Gann winner versus Jones or Alex Pereira. Maybe at Trump's birthday party, maybe not. But that explains why he used phrases like, it sucks to have to do the rematch, when in fact, the Tom versus Gann rematch is now a big fight. He also committed to as soon as possible. That makes me think he wants the rematch done within time for another fight he has in mind to happen at a specific date that can't be moved back. Thoughts? So I alluded to this earlier, and truth be told, it was Ant who gave me a 6-minute voice note about it on the way home. He loves those podcasts. PT, what do you think of this? Do you think there's any chance as we try to make sense of Dana White's stance that this is why he was mad? It's because it delayed any big plans he had for the White House card?
I certainly hope so, because I think the visual from the night is tough. Like, as in, this situation happens. Tom interviewed in the cage. I thought that was a bit crazy. And then even the footage they've put out afterwards, like, one thing that's very striking about it is how isolated he is. And you mentioned yesterday, if this happened to Anthony Joshua, if it happened to Katie Taylor, you'd have Eddie Hearn there right beside them. I'm sure they would. There seemed to be no UFC officials around. I'd love to think that Dana was thinking about that rather than just, like, you know, throwing Tom under the bus to a certain extent. And I know you could look at it a different way. Maybe he's just dejected over how the fight finished. But I agree with you in terms of, like, he had an opportunity to kind of make this seem better, put a better bow on it for the public, and he didn't. I think, you know, if he was planning, like, he's right to be miffed, because we still don't know what situation we're in here with Tom. We're still waiting to hear how he is doing, how his eye is. I mean, we're not out of the woods here yet. Like, people are talking about, oh, he gets out of there, you know, he just didn't want to be in there. We don't have any clarity as to whether he's going to be able to fight in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or who knows? Like, we have no idea of the extent of the damage yet. So maybe that was it, but it just didn't feel like that on the night. It felt like, and with everything we've seen since, it just felt like he was being kind of lambasted for looking after his health.
I think it's like hearing Bisping being so adamant, like, hey, let's get him back on the MSG card in December. Someone who's experienced eye trauma is wild. Like, can we find out? Like, just because, you know, some doctor in the cage and, you know, some doctor in Abu Dhabi said, yeah, the eye isn't hanging out of the socket. Can we find out, like, what the actual damage is here? And you know, could we give the guy a proper opportunity to get back to full strength? Both guys just been through a big training camp and everything like that. Like, when does that ever happen? A fight of that caliber and they turn them around that quickly. It doesn't ever happen. So yeah, let's wait and see. So far, no massive updates on that front. Ace Crouton says, hey, Ariel, have you ever met Westside Gunn? He'd be a great guest
I love him.
On your show as a wrestling and Bills fan. And then I love this from Charlie Seats. I'd bet my whole bank account AH has no clue who that is. Are you out of your mind? This dude is a proud Buffalo native, reps the 716, is a huge Bills fan, and also has a wrestling promotion I believe, called The Fourth Rope that I've seen. So, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a bit of a hip-hop aficionado myself. Benny the Butcher as well.
You're more of a Benny the Butcher guy, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Of Griselda, he'd be your guy, I'd say.
Yeah.
More than Conway the Machine.
You like these cats, huh?
Oh, I love Westside Gun. Yeah, absolutely love him.
Wow.
He's class. And the wrestling thing is really interesting that he does. Like, he puts a lot of money into these productions that he does. And he's done some features with your good friend Action Bronson. Great songs. The Dudley Boys. That's their duet they have together. It's a fantastic song. So, very, very cool guy, as is Action. So, a combo of coolness, if you will.
MMAL, hi Ariel and gang. I wonder if the point taking for fouls has been avoided for so long, because if you think about how many 29-28 decisions we get in this sport, the potential for draws is going to be insane. Don't you think? I don't have a solution, but I expect over the coming cards we are going to see a lot more draws if the refs continue to take points. It's not a fair shout, but ultimately I think it will stop these moments from happening.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. It's if you are a fighter who was going to win 29-28 and you committed a foul, you are risking that by committing the foul. And so the point is that the impact has to be significant enough that you're going to not want to commit the foul. If it wasn't, right, if it was some insignificant kind of penalty, then ultimately they're going to just continue to commit the fouls. Right now, the penalty is nothing. The penalty is a warning in the back, and then there's no reason not to commit the foul. So it has to be significant. If you're a fighter that was on your way to a 29-28 win and you eye poke somebody, now you just earned yourself a draw. That is severe. That is significant, and there are some like Jim Miller who believe that will curtail the issue, that will fix the problem. So let's find out. I'm okay with trying that out.
Lovely says, Ariel, the people want to know, did you stay up for the 18-inning devastation last night? For your sake, I hope you went to bed and didn't have to suffer through that at 3 a.m. Yes, I did stay up. And you know what? No regrets. I'm actually proud. I was telling my friend Jason Tackman this morning, I feel like blessed that I got to experience something like that. I feel like that's a game that we're going to be talking about for the rest of our lives. And it was just so wild to see dudes who never play get these opportunities in the World Series, pivotal game, and have to, either sink or swim. It was fascinating theater. No regrets. You only live once, guys. YOLO. Now, Pizzi, usually these questions are directed to GC, but since he is not here today, I'm aborting that, calling an audible, and it's going to be directed towards you. And so, Pizzi, please. This is from Bunyak. Please blind rank the following 6 Chael Sonnen mispronunciations. Oh, okay. Do you know what a blind rank is?
Yeah.
Yuri Prokhriev.
It's not one of the classics. I'm going 6 with that one.
Wait, is that for real? I've never even heard him say that.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not.
No, he has.
It's out 6, isn't it? 6.
6, yeah 6.
Hazmat Shemaev.
I love that one. I love that one. That's going 2, just in case.
This is a great one. Alex Piera.
Yeah.
Piera.
I really love that. It's one of my favorite ones of all time. Yeah. I want to put it 1, but for fear there is a better one coming, I'm going number 3.
Surreal Gan.
He hit that. No joke. 15 times. During your conversation the other day, and he only calls him Surreal. No, doesn't give him the second name at all. 4.
Murab Dishalivili.
What do you have left? 5 and 1, right?
Yeah.
5 and 1. What do you think, Rick? Help me.
I think 5 because there's one that I love that hasn't been said yet.
And this is the pound for pound best.
This has to be it.
Yair Rodriguez.
That wasn't mine, but that's a good one.
It's got to go 1 with that.
What is yours?
Islam Makhachev.
Oh.
I love Makhachev. Islam Makhachev. I'm like, who is this?
Oh my
Who is Islam Makhachev?
Oh, man.
The other great one is that he would always refer to Valentina as the bullet.
The bullet.
Just no one calls
Yair. Yair is a top. Yair deserves
it's
a number 1
underrated.
spot. It's a great one. It's a great one.
Nono from Canada. Is this my dad, by the way? My parents are known as Nona and Nono to my kids, and they are from Canada, but I doubt it given the question. Ariel, contract question. If Tom has 3 fights left on his contract, does a no contest count from a contractual standpoint? I have a feeling my dad isn't asking this, but maybe. I'm going to ask him later. No, that would count as a fight for sure. So I guess he's got 2 left. Or did he say he had 3 left after this
3
one?
left before that.
Okay, so he has 2 left.
Yeah. Interesting though with the no contest. This is a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Adele, Ariel, and the folks, how do we decide that the first ever Uncrowned movie is about BKFC? And were you paid to do this or endorse them? Great film, by the way. No, absolutely not. I was not paid to do. I mean, we work for Uncrowned. I wasn't paid by BKFC. Are you out of your mind? No way. I would never do that. Why was BKFC first? Because it was in Newark. I had never been, and I thought it would make for a good look. Perry, Stevens involved, good characters that we know, that you guys know. And it just, I didn't have to travel. It was right here. Casey just joined the team. It all made sense. Following up on the same topic, we could have done some very educational films about perhaps gout and its treatment, or GC's apartment issues capturing New York landlords. I forgot about the gout thing. That was a very October 2024 thing.
That was a very like Aunt Evans keeping it alive thing. And now
he loved it. He loved
I almost
it.
asked the doctor about it.
He loved it with the little emoji thingies.
Yeah.
Kevin from Ottawa. Fun little fact, since I've heard you say it a couple of times now, Kate Scott is not nay Kate Abdo. She's formerly Kate Abdo, but nay Kate Giles.
Oh.
So he's right. I have called her nay Kate Abdo, and I guess it's Giles, then Abdo, then Scott. Sussy. Hey, Ariel, you said you can't get into conspiracy talk with the Paul Hughes fight because you have no evidence of that, but then you say the scorecards were so sketchy. Oh, this dude has asked the same question, by the way, since the Paul Hughes fight. Whenever that Paul Hughes fight has happened, he's asked the same question, copy-paste. But for whatever reason, I didn't read it, so here we go. We're so sketchy, they need to be investigated. Is that not all the evidence you need? You are saying something is awry. Isn't that a perfect conspiracy? Genuine question. I mean, like, what do you want me to, what do you want me to investigate at that point? Do you want me to see, like, whether or not the ref was on the take? Is that what you want?
I think we both specifically said we didn't think that was the case as well on the night.
We just said it was so weird. Perhaps.
And we didn't agree with it and we couldn't make sense of it.
Worship, good day, Ariel and friends. Can we get some airtime for Casey on Thursday's BITB? I know Ariel has him working like crazy, but he would add a lot of value to the Parlay Pals, I think. What do you guys think? Casey on the BITB?
I don't know about the Parlay Pals, but yeah, maybe, you know what? I don't hate that idea.
He's got some takes, but now that he's like, Mr. Uncrowned Films, he's not really following the day-to-day of MMA.
No, I want to talk to him about the film. I don't want to talk to him
okay.
about. I don't want to talk to him about freaking Onama versus Garcia. I want to talk to him about the film.
Okay, all right.
Joining the Uncrowned team.
That's you guys. Yeah,
you know what?
It's not a bad shout.
If Casey's available, you got it.
All right,
you got it. We're gonna have him.
There it is. Ahmed. Hi, Ariel. I have listened to you several times, most recently in the post show on Saturday, say that Lopez will be getting a rematch versus Volk. Is that 100% the direction you are going for, presumably for Feb? That's last I heard, and I would say that Lerone Murphy's tweets would back that up, right? It seems like they're going in that direction. At least for now, they could pivot. They haven't announced anything, but that's what I was hearing. Matt Chawiwis. Hello, Ariel and gang. Happy National Oatmeal Day. A couple of quick-fire questions. From the stories that have been published on Yahoo Uncrowned, which one generated the most unexpected feedback, positive or negative, and why? I think there have been some Ben Folks, Chuck Mindenhall deep dives that have blown up, but that would be a question for Shaheen. I've seen some people try to insinuate. I cannot have less of a say about what goes on Uncrowned. That is all Shaheen. You can ask him yourself. The majority of the time I find out, like all of you, what's going up there. We talk about other things, of course, but this notion that I'm like picking and choosing stories, the only time that we ever squashed a story was Keith Idek's story about DAZN back in October of 2024, and it was because it was a very unbalanced, biased story, in my opinion. It felt like he had an axe to grind, and I don't think that it was fair, and it came across as just a little too confrontational. And I think we learned our lesson from that, and that has never happened since. And you can ask every single person that has written for the website, and that was just, I think, a byproduct of us being kind of, new, wet behind the ears. Of course, there are some people who are trying to spin that into something else, but nothing of that sort has happened since. And I'm extremely proud of what we're doing on there. Of course, you're going to have people, detractors and haters who are just waiting to see you fail, stumble, do anything like that. But I think it's been, very, very balanced, very fair, and dare I say, very unbiased. With Uncrowned focusing on some documentary style programming, would you consider going to Octagon Horizon? That's the goal. That is the goal. Dennis Chi. Hey, Ariel, how much of Dana's post-fight comments do you think is partially related at all to the fight week chatter from the Aspinall camp? I think a lot. I think he's, like I said yesterday, I think it's the worst possible thing. Those are the two worst things that you can say to him. Don't want to fight a teammate and want to go to boxing and fight out the contract. At Joe's Mama's House. What's good, Ariel? I do not follow wrestling much, but really intrigued for Chandler versus Mendez. RAF may have something on their hands if they keep landing these kinds of matchups. What's your take? I was thinking about this yesterday. We were talking about it yesterday, and I was thinking about it after the show as well. I think the move for them, is it more interesting, rather than seeing Chandler, Mendez, two UFC guys, or one former UFC guy and current UFC guy, is it more interesting like what they did with Holly Holm in the first show, which was Holly Holm against a true blue wrestler? And so if it's Chandler against, right, PT, that's probably the way they should go, right?
Yeah, and as well as that, you're allowing the audience to see these wrestlers. They're more say if you're trying to capitalize on the MMA audience, put one of these veteran, very good grapplers we have from MMA against a wrestler. It will get a lot more people to watch, and they'll obviously get the recognition. Then the wrestler who's up against them will get that recognition, and people will come back and they'll have a known quantity on their hands. Then I think the problem might be getting an MMA guy to be like, okay, let me get this Division 1 wrestler, even though I'm 25, and this is.
But it's kind of like no harm, no foul, right? Because if they beat them, wow, you did, and if you lose, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, MMA fighters they don't care about grappling like that. Grapplers care about grappling a lot, but MMA fighters, it's a walk in the park. It's basically a training day for them. They don't get very anxious about it.
As we saw with Holly, she didn't even win, and she was a huge part of the conversation. So you might get people who still want to sign up for.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm still not watching wrestling, unfortunately. That's just
yeah, I'm with you.
Shrimp Cocktail. Hello, Ariel and gang. Forget Jones, Gustafson 1. Forget Lawler, McDonald 2. You're showing someone MMA for the first time. Do you show them Jan Sandhagen or Romero versus Costa? Want to hear Rick's
Nick
take
Diaz
on this too. What is that?
There's two options.
Daily Nick Diaz.
I think there were just two options there.
Well, but you know what I mean? Don't be giving them casual options. There's another one for you. Add it in.
Daily Diaz is so short though.
Yeah.
That's why it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm going Jan Sandhagen.
Best one-round fight ever.
It's definitely...
Of the two, probably Jan Sandhagen.
Costa Romero was a banger at that time, especially the way Costa was mugging on him when Romero was still Romero. But Jan Sandhagen was beauty, was poetry in motion.
Jesse Orozco, the BKFC film was great. Only criticism was, why didn't you want to push/investigate harder on the financial issues from the company? I don't think that was the tone of what we were doing. How could you have done that? It was about being there and what this is and who these fighters are. And I mean, Feldman was hardly even in it.
Also, a week before that, 2 weeks before that, Feldman was on the show and you talked to him about the financial situation. The forum for those two things is very different. Right?
Yes.
There was some editorial news from it when you spoke to Conor McGregor about the Frankie Edgar thing, but even that, right? That's a small snippet in the moment of the fight during the night. To have the full conversation, that's not the forum for that type of thing. That's in the interviews that Ariel does with these guys regularly. And as I said, 2 weeks before that, even a week, I don't remember exactly the timing.
It was a couple days.
Was here, and he was talking about the financial situation with BKFC.
Oh, this is an interesting one, guys. Hey, Ariel and crew, are you buying or selling on the following fighters fighting again for an undisputed /UFC title? Derek Lewis.
Not happening.
Selling. Magomed Ankalaev.
Yes, happening.
Fine.
I think it's happening. Yeah.
DDP. I'll buy that.
Yeah, probably.
Sean Strickland.
No. Shit, he might be Hamzat's next opponent. Actually, let me change that. Yes,
I'll buy that.
I'm buying that.
Bilal Sell?
No, I think he could.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle on that one.
Yeah, it's
Kamaru?
Next fight.
Sell.
Okay, but what if they gave it to Islam just as like this was the guy at 170? You get I don't know. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely.
They're boys also, Khabib and all that.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah, Max Holloway. I'll say sell. BMF champ.
That's a rough road.
Sugar Sean. I'll buy that.
Yes. If Marab's gone, then that opens things up. If he goes up to 45, who knows?
Oh, this is fun from Kyle. Guys, ALCS Game 7 update for you. Remember, this is the guy who said he was on his way to Game 7 last week, standing room only. It was an amazing experience. Got in the ballpark when it opened 2.5 hours before the first pitch and got a spot on the 100 level near the left field foul pole. Had to stand in that same spot for close to 6 hours or I would lose it. Great game. After the game, I was able to walk down close to Blue Jays dugout and stick around to watch the celebration until close to 1 a.m. Missed the last train home. Had to take a bus that took forever. Didn't make it home until 4:30 a.m. Worth it. I was able to get standing room tickets for Game 7 of the World Series. We'll see if it happens. Opposite question from last week. What is each of your worst/most disappointing experiences ever attending a sporting event? Oh, yeah. This was the gentleman who asked us our best. What about worst, guys? Man.
I don't know about worst.
I'll tell you the one that came to mind.
Yeah.
When I was in the 9th grade, my good friend Mo Liebman was invited to a social. Do you guys know what a social is?
It's like a party of some sort?
It was like a party in the basement.
Yeah.
Usually at the opposite sex's house. You guys know about that?
Been in the bottle?
I've heard of it, yeah.
In the bottle, 7 minutes in heaven, these shenanigans. Anyway.
We called this socials? All right.
We called this socials.
We didn't call it socials.
I didn't want to go. But it happened to be at the daughter of my dad's friend's house. And my friend Mo, I think, had a little thing for the invitee.
Yeah.
And so he wanted me to go, and I didn't want to go. This is 9th grade, by the way. I wasn't really all that interested.
What age is 9th grade? Sorry. Just
9th grade, 1997. I'm 14, turning 15 that summer.
Come on. That's prime spin the bottle age.
My dad catches wind of this, and he said, and he really was starting to get concerned that I wasn't kind of, settling down.
The flower wasn't blooming.
Yeah. And so he said, all right, I'll make you a deal. If you go to this party, I will take you to a Knicks game in New York. And so I said, all right. We shook on it. You have yourself a deal. And so one morning, we went to New York in the morning, early morning, and we went to an afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
No. We're not skipping over the party.
Oh, the party was a bus.
Straight to the Knicks game. No.
I have zero recollection of the party. I literally went there to get the tickets. Nothing.
Tell us all this.
On my life.
You set this up for a Knicks game, boo.
On my life. Oh, yeah. No. But I'm answering the question.
I know, but
go to the Knicks game.
You diverted to a much more interesting conversation, and then you're just like, it was nothing.
No, but the point was, we went to a Knicks game against the Nets in 1997. The Nets suck, and they whooped us. And I was like, we went all the way here to see the Knicks.
Went to that stupid party, and then went to this, and
a
nothing.
Spiritless. It's like they were partying the whole night and had no interest in playing this game. They lost by 25. It was an awful game.
They were at a social the night.
And I was like,
this spin the ball.
Yeah, this sucks. So that was kind of a disappointing experience. If I'm.
I've been to some games where the team lost, but I'll be honest. I've been to some really incredible ones, and those stand out way more.
I haven't been I haven't gone to a Super Bowl or where my team is playing in any of these games. So.
I've been. I mean, you've been to some incredible fights, though.
Yeah, but I didn't have a rooting interest to where I felt devastated.
Yeah, the connection's different than if you're just as a fan, for sure.
Pizzi, didn't you go to the All Ireland Schleider affair?
I went to the All Ireland football. I never went to the Dublin. Don't do that well. They don't get to the finals in the hurling. That's more Cork, Limerick, Kilkenny, those kind of places. They're very good at it.
Ariel, have you been to any curling matches?
Shout out Tipperary.
Curling?
Yeah.
Why curling?
With the brush?
With the brush, yeah. I know you've mentioned it in the past, but I don't know, like, have you gone to one? Were they fun?
I sure did. In 2010, while I was covering the Vancouver Winter Olympics, actually, Casey and I went to a few.
Oh, yeah.
Casey was covering with me, and we even interviewed a member of the Canadian women's curling national team who was 7 months pregnant, and she taught me how to curl. We went to like a local curling club. The video is still up on our channel. And so, yeah, it's a great time, and I'll be there in February.
Oh, damn, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, Hut asks, Ariel, is Dustin Poirier the UFC's Buffalo Bills? Can get to the big one, but always falls short. Thank you. Love the show. Wow.
How about that? How'd you like them apples, Helwani?
I mean, I would say, hey, getting to the big one 4 straight times, not too bad. Not a lot of people do that. In fact, no one has ever done that. If the Chiefs make the Super Bowl this year, it'll be 4 straight times. And of course, they've won, so it would be a little bit better.
Hopes maybe dash this weekend
against the Chiefs. No, we usually.
I think the Bills are going to hammer the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, we usually beat them in the regular season, and then it's the playoffs where everything goes to shit.
Mahomes was on fire last night. In fairness to him,
yeah. Did they even win? I don't even know because
they did. Yeah, they did. Well, they had Mariota playing a quarterback. The Commanders. Come on.
Yeah. Marcus.
Yeah. All right.
Is Cyril Gahn the UFC's Buffalo Bills?
Colby Covington?
Yeah. Joseph Benavidez?
Uriah Faber.
Alex Gustafson?
Nah.
No. Iron Turtle says, Ariel, a question regarding the topic of UFC possibly fudging the YouTube numbers for UFC BJJ 3 weeks ago. I guess because I'm the only subscriber on this channel who also unironically watches Power Slap. I've noticed that the Power Slap 15 event, which was held on October 3rd, a day after UFC BJJ on October 2nd, has 10 million views, and BJJ has a very similar 9 million. For reference, Power Slap 16 from October 24, currently has 300K views. Power Slap's channel doesn't have 20 million subs like the UFC's main channel, and it was not some special event with star fighters, no Dumpling or Wolverine. So it definitely looks fake. Do you now think it's more likely that the UFC is behind this, or does it fit your conspiracy theory and somebody going after all of Dana's endeavors? P.S. At least there were no eye pokes in Power Slap. Never been disappointed this much by watching Slap as last UFC. Love the show. Thanks. Well, Anta Evans weighs in, YouTube guru.
Oh, yes.
Self-appointed YouTube guru. I love you.
Fair play. One of the best writers in the sport.
Every YouTube channel can pay to boost the amount of people who see their content. That's not the same as buying views via bots. It simply means more people see the thumbnail and have the choice to click on it or not. TKO spends a lot on these types of promotions. It is not best practice. By the way, one of his favorite lines, best practice.
Loves best
we need an Ant Evans best practice t-shirt. Doing it regularly can actually tank a channel. That's what happened with another guest that was on our show recently. But there's nothing fake about it unless you think Netflix taking out Times Square billboards for Stranger Things is fake.
Yeah, what he's saying is paying money to amplify where it appears as opposed to just straight buying. I'm buying 1 million views, you know?
Who knows? I mean,
I still don't. The UFC has not ever needed to buy views. It's just not a thing.
Frank the Tank says, hey, Ariel and crew, I hate to stir the pot since you and Dana are best friends and you don't ask him hard-hitting questions, but between him barely promoting 321, lack of energy at the pre-fight press conference, and post-fight press statements, is Dana White going for the worst promoter of 2025 award? What do you guys think?
I mean, he's still selling the shit out of it. Like, UFC is still in a great place, you know? Like, he might not have the same
pizzazz.
Feel and, like, I mean, but he's still fucking killing it. Like,
yeah.
That's why we're so intrigued about the Eddie Hearn thing. Eddie Hearn's coming in with all this gusto. Will he awaken the beast? And we'll get back to Mayweather Mac, Dana. The rating!
I was
pretty good, PT.
I was just sent a video that was posted 20 minutes ago from Aspinall's channel of Andy speaking. 23-minute video, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. Anything?
I just saw a social clip of it. I think he's just
anything of note? Well, anyway, go check it out right now.
After our show, maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're 100% right. Well, we'll link to it. But yeah, after the show. Why did I say right now? That's weird.
Yeah.
It's not best practice.
That's definitely not. Oh, what about this one, guys? What do you think about Aljo's take on the Aspinall situation? If you've seen it, I think it's ridiculous take, of course. Can I just okay? So this is my take on the Aljo thing. We love Aljo around here. He invited me to his wedding, for goodness sakes. Got the save of the day and all. I feel like Aljo PT was just turning the corner. Like, I feel like his interview with DC recently, everything post Sean O'Malley loss, like, people are really digging. And yeah, to see him kind of like mock Tom, I don't.
We're just gonna make that head or tail of it, yeah.
Like, I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including myself, because I defended him in the Petr Yan thing, and I feel like if anyone should kind of understand what Tom is dealing with, it's him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, and you know, he got a lot of shit as well. Like I mean, he knows exactly. He might know better than most fighters on planet Earth what Tom is going through right now, and it was a shit time for him. Like, you know, I remember how it affected him, really. I can remember him coming on doing his own videos, coming on and doing his first interview with you, and it was so obvious that this would affect him, and of course it does when the whole world's talking about this situation. You know, talking about, you know, how hard you are, how tough you are when you're in this business, who only the hardest people kind of have success in. I was just very surprised by it. Like, if there was anyone that was going to have a lot of compassion for Tom and come out and say, listen, lads, you just don't understand what this is like, I thought it would be him. So I was very surprised by it.
Yeah, I don't know. Given his demeanor in the clips that I saw, I was wondering if he was just trolling. Rick, you know him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know him a little bit. I don't pretend to know him super well, but I've always thought Aljo got a unfair shake from the fans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are you surprised by this?
I am surprised because, as you said, like, if anybody can sympathize with this position, if anybody's been there before, it's him, right? He was in a fight where I think he was losing that fight, and Petr Yan made a mistake that cost him the fight and got him disqualified, and everybody came out of the woodwork to say that Aljamain Sterling was acting and should win an Academy Award, and he was looking for a way out of a fight that he was losing. And it's a very similar scenario. Now, again, I disagree with you, and we talked about this yesterday in terms of the intention behind the knee versus the intention behind the hand and the eye poke. But ultimately, the result was the same, where Aljamain Sterling walks away as champion, and Tom Aspinall walked away as champion, and are taking flack for something that was not their fault. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised that he had that stance. He kind of explains it in the sense that he's talking about, you know, you can't say the words I can't see. There's some telltale kind of things that if you do it, they will stop the fight. Whereas with Aljamain, he was, you know, not really necessarily talking to the referee and things like that. It just was clear that he couldn't continue, and they deemed it something. But I am surprised. But we've heard a million different things from all over the spectrum as this thing has come out, and I expect we'll hear a million other takes as well. But yes, I was surprised.
I'm happy Ski asked this question. Hi, Ariel. And by the way, we're getting through a lot of these here, you know.
Let's do it.
So,
Smashing it.
No, I'm just, you know, we've been ignoring the questions. Hi, Ariel. Short and sweet this week in hopes of getting it read. You always say, to paraphrase, quote, intentional, unintentional, it doesn't exist in other sports, NFL, NBA. The obvious comparison is a flagrant foul. Those would seemingly be the equivalent of intentional fouls. From Wikipedia, a flagrant foul may be unintentional or purposeful. The latter type is also called an intentional foul. Yes. Obviously, there are different levels. And obviously, a flagrant foul is something in basketball in which either there's excess force or there are intentional fouls where, you know, someone will stop the clock. And I get that. But my point is, never does someone, when there's a you know, a travel or a goaltend or a illegal screen or an offensive foul, does someone say, did they mean to do it or did they not mean to do it? I understand that there's flagrant 1, there's flagrant 2, I get that. But what I was trying to say was, at the highest levels of any one of these sports, when someone is in the box, when George Springer is in the box and he gets beamed in the knee, does the umpire say, you know what, he didn't mean to do that, so you don't get to take first base? No. An infraction is an infraction. That's my point. So yes, You can dissect this all you want and try to put the squares in the circle, and I get what you guys are trying to do, but you all know what I'm saying is true. An infraction is infraction. There is never a time where they converge and say, did they mean to do that or not? And that's what happens repeatedly in our sport.
I don't think the debate is whether an infraction is an infraction. Most people agree with you on that. But if somebody throws at somebody's head in baseball and gets ejected for it versus if somebody lets a pitch get away in baseball and they just take first base, those are two different things.
Yeah, but I never said that if you poke someone in the eye, you should be disqualified. I say that it should be a DQ if your opponent can't continue.
I'm clear on that, but the
point deduction is first base. You know what I mean?
There is intent in those things as well as intentional foul. Somebody swings at somebody's head when they're trying to block a shot, but they're clearly just going for their head. They do make judgment calls in these sports. There are moments like that.
It's yes, of course there are moments like that, but it's so I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say. The point is when you do something, and I'm not even talking about anything physical sometimes. If someone travels or double dribbles, you don't say, did they mean to do it or not?
For sure.
There's a turnover. If someone goes off sides, if someone face masks, if someone holds.
But you're picking now which fouls to
I'm talking about all of them.
A flagrant foul. What about a foul?
A flagrant foul is excessive. So if it's like if there's flagrant one and there's flagrant
they determine
flagrant
intent.
two.
That's in the rule. Like they're talking about whether they meant to block the ball or not.
Yes, but it's never not a foul. It's just the level.
It is a foul, yes.
Yes, it's just the level of punishment that you get.
Right.
Yes.
I think DQ is too high a punishment, whereas taking a point is the right
Clearly,
punishment.
we're going to disagree on this one. I don't know what else to say.
Let's go again, boys. I'll just chill out here. I'm gonna have a go again.
I'm with you. I think most are. Fouls are fouls, and there should be a stiffer punishment for fouls. But I can't get to the level where no matter what DQ if they can't continue. But we mostly agree.
By the way, this is
but isn't that a natural consequence though? The disqualification error, if a guy can't continue, as we said earlier, every sport people will game a system. Like and again, not saying this is about Aspinall. I don't believe this to be the case with Aspinall at all. If you introduce that, is there a situation where that can be gamed? And if it's costing UFC many fights in a card, it's like we saw with the gloves, it's affecting the product. That's why I don't think it will happen. I think they are too afraid.
To be fair, it could be gamed now. Like it could be gamed now, right? If Tom decided, if Tom, I'm not assigning anything to Tom at this moment. I have no idea of his mental state, but he could decide, I'm not really that hurt, but I have an opportunity and do that. Same with Aljamain Sterling, right? If he was in that position against Petr Yan and he goes, man, I'm not really that hurt, but I could do that. That could still happen now. There's no change to the rules. There's no difference. You could still
unintentional. Does that not get rid of that to a certain extent? If does that not give them an out to some extent to go no contest as opposed to DQ?
No, because most of the time you kind of know which one you're facing, right? There's kind of like an understanding of this might be a DQ or this might be. In fact, unless I'm mistaken, I feel sometimes I've heard the referees actually talk to them about what will happen if the fight doesn't continue.
Okay.
So. Again, this is a dicey and tricky thing.
It's complicated.
I'm happy to hear from Ariel that Andy Foster is like looking into this to at least explore what can be done here.
Just a few more here, guys. Christian Juarez, bit of a late one, but wow, can we talk about Jalen Turner coming back? Yes, this came out on Wednesday after I said goodbye, and he's back after announcing suddenly his retirement. I believe it's on the December 6th card. Also, Bilal deserves an apology. Love from Chicago. Rig is the GOAT. Apology for what?
I don't know. But shout out to real ones know that the Jalen Turner return was actually broken on boys in the back.
Right. Just like what was it, Gable?
The Gable LFA. Real ones know.
Here's another blind rank for you guys. This was for GC, but unfortunately not here. Okay, blind rank these 5 annoying habits of your coworkers. Number 1 being the most annoying. I guess PT and Frank. How about you guys weigh in on this? You know what? I'd like Frank to weigh in on this one.
Why are we doing that?
I'd like Frank to weigh in on this as well.
Contagious overuse of the word ultimately.
Ultimately. 6, right, or 5?
I know what Frank says. Mine's showing up too late to do my audio check. He loves that.
Well, let's see.
Gotta be one.
Wow. All right. So ultimately, that's honestly the least of my concerns.
Okay. Jordan's unwavering love and support for Long Island.
I would put that actually lower than Rick's, but that's not possible. So
4? It's 5, yeah. Frank's tendency to flake on outings.
You know, there's layers to that. I'll put that at number
3?
3.
All right. Petey's sinking the parlay pals with his picks.
See, that's not even his fault, but it's got to go 2.
Wow. Ariel pretending to be upset about not getting invited to events he would never attend.
Absolutely 1. I would have said 1 if that was the first one you asked.
I only left Andy off the list because she is perfect and doesn't do anything annoying. I appreciate all the work that goes
fucking bullshit. Yeah, Frank has something to say about that.
every week.
Wait, didn't Connor also get left off the list, or am I?
Yeah,
making that up?
because this was for Connor.
Oh, this was a blind ranking for
Yeah.
Connor. Okay.
They love it. They love it. Okay. Dana White, fouls, unbiased.
There's a theme today, huh?
Oh, huge shout out from Jax GT. To the Ariel Helwani Show and BITB crew, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for everything you've been putting out lately. It's been a pretty lonely stretch in my life this past month, and your shows have honestly meant the world to me. The laughs, the energy, the way you all show up and make it feel like a hangout between friends. It's something special, and there's a weird thing that happens where I feel like a fly on the wall. The amount of work you all put into every episode doesn't go unnoticed, and it's very much appreciated. When things have felt heavy or quiet, turning on the Ariel Helwani Show or BITB or The Crack has been the best part of my day. So thank you for what you do, for showing up week after week, and for giving people like me a little light when we need it most. Much love to you all. Long live Uncrowned. Wow, how about that?
That is a very nice message, and thank you. And it's messages like that
feeling this way, but yes,
make us feel good about what we're doing as well. That sustain us and keep us going. So really, thank you for that, and we're glad to be a part of that for you.
Feel better. He does add, P.S. if you could just find a way to replace Frank, everything would be perfect. So
all this
did
positivity.
It really say that?
No, it didn't say that.
Okay, so then there's layers to this. Like, if he did write that, why would you read it? And then second, are we all right? Is everything fine?
Who, me and you?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh, those fighting words.
I love you, Frank.
I love you more, clearly.
Gaza, bro. Yo. Just about Tommy's YouTube video after the fight. DC wasn't very happy with him leaking their conversation about the Volkov Almeida fight. Fair enough. He wasn't exactly being kind. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, if DC thought that was like between them, yeah, I would say that wasn't something that they should have done. It's tough with these video blogs and all this stuff.
It's happening a lot, man.
It is, but
stuff.
You got to be.
DC was using his whisper voice. Like, that was a pretty clear, like,
yeah,
we're keeping this on the DL, like hiding the mic like this, and
I
don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was needed, right? Like, it didn't.
I mean, it got around.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
it.
Personally, thought it was interesting.
Ryan says, Ariel and crew, I love the first Uncrowned film. Can't wait for more. Hashtag D1 Glazer. How about that?
Guy's a D1 Glazer, bro.
There are a million questions over today.
By the way, is Halloween, do you guys celebrate Halloween in Ireland?
Invented it. Yeah, invented it.
You
didn't read the pisser facts in the bathroom?
No, didn't see those.
Did they say
They
PT?
say as specified by P.T. Carroll in October 2024.
Oh, but this is like the 4th year of Tara.
No, I know. That was a joke. That was a joke. Hey, Frank, good one. Question for you. We'll close with this one. Have you ever gone? I want to see if there was a better one to close on, but no, this is bad. Have you ever gone close to playing a drop at an inappropriate time, like when Ariel's with a guest? The other week, when midway through Ariel listing off Jeff Perlman's accomplishments, my head automatically played, "This guy's a D1 Glazer, bro. Be honest. Did you want to push the button?" P.S. Ariel, what would actually be the fallout if he did that? Thanks for the great content, Slava.
You have no idea how bad it is. And sometimes I have to just say it like in the control room so I could get it off.
Yeah.
The worst though is like when I'm at home and my wife is telling me something about work and I'm like, it's tough. And she's like, what'd you just fucking say to me? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm still in work mode.
Yeah, that's great.
There was one on BITV where we had some guy like playing a voicemail and it was like super heartfelt and all this, and Frank hit some like super shitty drop on it.
I had to tell Rick to give me a heads up.
He asked me to give him a heads up if there's sad voicemails anymore. You really ruined the moment of some guy like pouring his heart out.
It's the best part of the show, Frank.
I would have loved it in the Perlman interview. That
Imagine.
that would have been fun.
Moneyberg loved when you played the breaking news.
Yeah, that was
He,
pretty
like-
funny. It broke the tension in there a little bit.
Frank, what about super chats? What do we got?
So glad you asked.
Are you gonna read these or me?
I'll read them.
Okay.
Ariel insinuating yesterday that Abu Dhabi hospital staff had no idea what they were doing was an insane take to state out loud. And
Why is that?
And I don't know if this is in live or live.
Well, when she was
Hopefully live.
when she was like, yeah, seriously, when she was like, does this hurt? I don't know. Just
Then she
It was
shone
the-
a light straight into
The
it.
light was with the phone. That's the part that got me. Like when she shines the light, it's like not like
Yeah.
a
It was on her
medical
phone?
grade
Just a torch on the
flashlight.
phone.
It's just her phone.
I think Dr. Brian was very kind when we showed him that clip.
Absolutely.
I think the larger point that Ariel was making, and I agree with, is like we're all playing amateur doctor over here
Yeah.
based on these videos where it's like the doctor in the cage is like, oh, Tom this, and then at the hospital they're like, Tom this. Let's hear from Tom. It seems like Andy Aspinall put out a video, so we'll
Yes,
hear more.
and by the way,
We're all ophthalmologists now.
I did
Exactly.
I did confirm there was one member of the UFC staff that was with him off camera. They usually have someone to escort you to the hospital and whatnot, but like there's no shots of Dana or Hunter there. Like
I saw Verna Jandaroba there. Was that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that the staffer they sent?
Oh, no. Actually, we do have a clip from Andy talking about the state of Tom's eye. This is from the Tom Aspinall YouTube channel, and it's the most recent update. Why don't we take a look?
We got an appointment yesterday morning with a friend of ours who is one of the doctors from the UFC, and he got us a private appointment at Cheadle Hospital to see an eye specialist yesterday. He kind of basically did the same as the guy that we saw over there, said it's bad, it's not good, but his eye is a little bit more closed than it was. His right eye still can't see anything. He said it's just grey. And they tested him on words and he just couldn't see anything. His left eye, 50%, he went down about 4 letters and then couldn't see the letters. So one's really blurry and one's still not working. Sometimes when your eyes heal like that, it can become displaced and stay there. And they did a few tests on that and they said it doesn't seem like that. And his vision on the eye that's the best eye, his eye wasn't following properly, so the muscles weren't working strong enough to go this way. This one just wasn't working that good at all. So we've got to have additional tests further this week, and Moyes is sorting the tests out for us, and he's got to have a CT scan, see if the bone's all right, but they think the bone's are all right.
Again, that's Tom's father, not his coach or his manager. It's his dad, who is also his coach and manager, but most importantly, his dad. Saying that he can't see still is obviously very concerning, and you hope that he'll be able to make a recovery at some point. But that's why all this talk about like put him on the MSG card in December is crazy, right? It's just absolutely crazy.
Oh man!
Anyone questioning him, and PT, we live in a world where it's like the more you tell people, the more people think you're bullshitting in a weird way, right? Like, oh, look at them trying to like paint this picture. I appreciate the fact we don't get this kind of transparency from anyone. Like most people are hiding for a week or so after something like this. So I appreciate the fact that they're putting this out, and obviously urge everyone to check out the whole thing and wish them the best.
No matter what they said in that video, whatever they believed going in, they're gonna double down on. If he came out and said, "Look, Tom's fine now, he can fight soon," they'd be like, "Oh, he was faking it." Now they're like, "Look, he's still experiencing it." They're like, "Oh, they're bullshitting. They're just milking it." Like, there's no winning anybody.
What else?
That's scary
what else?
shit though. That is
it's awful.
Yeah, it's
awful.
horrible.
Frankie, what else we got?
Any word on the annual NYC event? Also, I hope the great Pete C will be in attendance.
That was the plan, as I said last week, but now we're working the Netflix card. So that's the night that it was going to happen, November 14th. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Uncrowned Films, and also my dream is to do one of these in London, Australia. It's hard when you're doing so much stuff, it's a lot. What else, Frank? What else?
I'm tired of living a lie. Despite laughing every time I hear the James Tahuna drop, I don't get it. Even though I haven't missed a show, I do sometimes skip interviews. Please explain.
Wow. It's so classic now that some people don't even know where it's
James
from.
Tahuna?
I was interviewing... It's so good. I was interviewing Bam Bam, Tai Tuivasa, and I Oh man, I wish we had the clip. Basically,
I wish we had GC reacting to it.
I basically said to him, like, did you see, James Tahuna get this big win? And he's calling out Jake Paul. And he's like, what? James Tahuna? And the best is like, he's like, James Tahuna like that. And then he pulls out a blunt and he's like, nah, man, you're talking about Tyson Pedro. Just like we're sitting around smoking fatty boom baddies, PRJs, and all the like. And it was just very casual. It was very bam bam. And the way he said James Tahuna has now become a thing. So shout out to Bam Bam. What else, Frank? What else?
Text Dana, break bread and make up. You'll have to swallow pride because he won't, but who cares? Take high road and get him back in favor. P&L.
What's PNL?
Profit and loss.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Oh.
Come on. By the way, there is no pride. I have texted. Not recently, but in the past. I don't even know if I have his number anymore. Like it's
I'll
been
give it
so
to you,
long.
man.
All right, yeah, I should have asked. But I have done that and I've gotten nothing. So like there's nothing to say. There's nothing to do. I've sent it and there was no reply. Now, this was 7 years ago. You know what's crazy? This June will be 10 years. February, guys, will be the last time. February will be 10 years since the last time I spoke to him. The last interview I did with Dana White was February of 2016 in London. The Friday before, like the night before, Bisping Silva at the O2. Like, how long ago does that feel? An eternity.
That's a lifetime.
Yeah.
We watched that one together, Helwani.
We were there. Yeah, we were there. What a crowd. Unbelievable.
What time to be alive.
What else, Frank? What else?
Can we get Frank Trigg or Chris Leben on the show? UFC
Lieben.
fights turned
Close.
refs.
Close enough. Chris Lieben, the crippler. That would actually be a great one. That would be a great one. And you know, they are California-based officials, and I think Andy Foster would have no problem.
Yeah, and Lieben is pro Revival Act as far as I'm read, I think.
Yeah. Ben wrote a great story on him. What else, Frank? What else?
Whoa, 1 whole year of uncrowned. New York Rick is my favorite.
Wow. Wait, what's this guy's name?
He's everyone's favorite. Look at this guy.
Wow.
I love this guy.
Shout out Cross.
Shout out Cross.
A man of taste. A man of fine culture.
Killer Cross?
Beautiful.
I mean, he's also a fan.
Karen Cross?
You know,
shout out to Karen Cross. His mom
Karen Cross.
just beat cancer, he posted.
Oh, shout out. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to this gentleman for being a part of the Uncrowned family for the past year. Yes, a little over a year now. What else, Frankie? What else?
Long-time listener, 10-month officially.
Yeah. Not sure if that's the correct spelling, but
hey, they're helping me out, phonetics, you know.
What else, Frankie? What else?
Thoughts on PC leaking the next doc? A boxing glove and some sort of structure.
I mean, there's no secrets here, but you know.
Was that not known?
No.
I thought you'd already said it. Will say it again?
No. I'm glad you're having a laugh. What else, Frank? What else?
Sorry, boys.
Good friend of the channel, MMA Guru, is touring the U.S. soon and is going to New York City. He's interested in coming on your show. Is he welcomed?
He's interested in coming on the program. Does that mean like he believes that an invitation has been extended, or he would just like to come on the show as a fan? I'm not sure. But I have no issues with Guru. He does a great job, and I've said this a million times. I know people love to pit him against me, but I've always said that I always have great respect for people that create their own lanes, paths, voices, things like that, and not everyone is going to be for everyone. I'm not going to be for everyone. He's not going to be for everyone. You know, Luke is not going to be for everyone. Pete's not going to be for everyone. Rick, it's just the way it is.
I am going to be for everyone.
Everyone loves me.
But I did not know that. I did not know that. And are you saying that like you guys want like a Derek Moneyberg-esque interview on the set in the studio? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure. I'd have to see the context. And what does touring the U.S. mean? What does that mean?
Like Led Zeppelin.
Going to different spots.
Oh, okay. Running with the devil.
That's Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Close enough.
Look, I'm surprised you even surprised you had any take there.
Right?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Fair play.
No, but it does seem. I mean, I'm happy to see that it does, at least from what I'm, being told and stuff that I see, that it does seem as though the animosity has subsided, which I never quite understood where it was coming from. So that's nice. I appreciate that. But, we're all about peace and love here. Peace and love. Peace
Buddy
and
boom
love.
buddies all around.
Everyone's doing great things. What's that?
Just bring them in the studio and spark up a big fatty boom buddy and, get over it.
Or PRJ.
All of you guys listen, guys. What are we doing?
Pass the Dutchie on the left.
Who would have thought? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do that one. You
Shout
and
out.
me.
All right.
PT's flying in for that one.
Yeah, you want in? We'll get those.
I'll just be off camera in the corner again.
What are Bam Bam's things called again?
Bam Bam Buds.
Yeah. The ones that are flavored, which I never tried, by the way. All of you consume those.
Not me.
Yeah.
I don't.
Who the fuck is we? Heavy.
We're smoking right now.
Jourdain was walking sideways for a week.
You want to know why Connor's not here?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What else, Frankie? What else?
Sam Don Quixote is welcomed to the Hawannabes.
Okay.
Congratulations. Big deal.
Yes. What else, Frankie? What else?
Sleeto says, when does the Fight Circus doc drop?
What is that all about?
What else, Frankie? What else?
The CEO says MMA Guru wants to come to the studio.
Why are they so
Do
afraid
it.
to write his name?
Maybe they're afraid to...
What?
Think you're gonna
guys,
get
we're
shadow
not
banned for
Or they're
this?
so excited, they're typing so quickly that it's just...
You seem to think like this is not a thing here. Like the beef was always one-sided. Show me once where we said anything that was remotely negative or like that came from any sort of plate of hatred or anything like that. There's none of that. So you can write people's names. It's okay. We like to answer questions here, truthfully, freely, unbiasedly.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
No.
People are like, will you answer this question about Nina Drama? I met Nina Drama at the MMA Awards, and she was lovely. Never met MMA Guru. What is MMA Guru's real name, by the way? Does anyone know?
Guru.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know. No.
Does anyone know, or is that some big mystery? And perhaps
I'm sure
that would
somebody
preclude
knows
us.
his name, right?
I wonder what part of the UK he lives in. Does anyone know that?
Is that a reason? Is there a reason why?
What?
Like he doesn't want to go by his real name.
Well, I mean, MMA Guru is a pretty catchy name.
Yeah.
Your name's like David Johnson. It's not going to be remembered.
Is that his name?
Dan says it's Kyle.
I don't think so. If it is, it's great.
Kyle Guru.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Shout out Dan.
Great second name.
Investigative work within 15 seconds here.
It was pretty strong.
You fill in for the one guy who does the research back here and now.
Appreciate that. Thank you. What else, Frankie? What else?
Ariel, I refuse to believe Dana will book Jones versus Pereira without a title on the line. Maybe Dana wanted to book Pereira versus Tom or Cyril early next year.
Yeah, maybe. The point is, like, did he have something bigger in the works, and is that why he was so upset? That's all. Who knows? Someone can ask him at the next. By the way, you remember at the end of last year, he said he had a massive thing in the works for 2025. Remember that press
Remember he
conference?
said he was going to make Tom Aspinall.
No. I know that one. And the truth is, like, I really don't think it's his fault that fight didn't happen. Truth be told, but do you remember he said, "I've got something big that you guys won't expect." I was wondering what that was.
What was that?
Do you think it was the White House? Do you think it was just the fact that they were working on the White House?
No.
I mean,
I think it was a fight.
Who expected that?
No, but that kind of just came out like it was nothing. Like,
but maybe he was working on it.
When Dana does the whole, you're never gonna believe it. I feel like there has to be more of a pomp and circumstance around the announcement of it. I don't think that was.
I mean, the freaking president of the United States announced it on July 4th weekend. It's kind of a big deal. No?
First of all, it had been talked about for 2 months.
What?
Before that?
No, it wasn't. Trump said it July 4th weekend. Everyone was like, "What? No, there's no chance."
Wait, that was the first mention of it?
He had a press conference. It was the kickoff of the 250th anniversary. Like that this was July 4th, 2025 was like 1 year out, right? And so it's like they were announcing all their big plans for the upcoming year. And he had mentioned, and on July 4th, 2026, we're going to have a UFC fight at the White House.
Why did I feel like Dana had mentioned it first? Okay.
No. Trump was the first one.
All right, fair enough then. That's pretty big.
What else, Frankie?
And lastly, 24-inch Dub says, as a substitute Dodgers fan, that game ruled, man.
Substitute Dodgers fan? This dude is a Boston Celtics fan, supposedly, and he's rooting for LA. How is that even possible? Like, you can't be from Boston and root for any LA team. I'm sorry. That's crazy. It's your biggest rival.
Substitute, you know?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Even in the final?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Game 4 tonight. We're going to get back on track. I think we're going to win 6-2. rock Otani early, chase him out of the game, right the ship. Can't wait. Pizza, you locking in?
Oh, no.
No. All right.
What was with the no?
Simple
no
I'll
would
go for a
suffice,
second.
man.
I just don't understand the game. I hope you win.
I live
It's
here,
fine.
and
I
don't
I understand. It's very complex. It's a little sophisticated.
Tell you what game I will be watching on Saturday, mate.
Which one?
Your boys.
Ah,
boys.
fuck. Listen. I'm hoping you guys win. We're talking Man United.
Don't
Force,
do that. Don't
just
do
so
that.
that
You
Jabroni
hope
would cut
don't-
his damn hair. That's it. I just don't want to
hair's
see
great.
that guy with his.
We've
fucking,
improved that guy. Our losing streak. He's 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. His
he's
hair is beautiful.
become-
The United strand. Shout out.
It's ridiculous at this point.
He looks great.
It's ridiculous. Just win, and we could all move on with our lives. Guys, tomorrow on the program, Devin Haney in studio.
Woo!
Ahead of his big fight against Brian Norman on the 22nd of November. Matt Brown, who has turned into quite the pundit and speaks on all kinds of things. He's going to be joining us. I'm really looking forward to that. Ludovic Klein, who had the big win this past weekend over PT?
Renbecki.
Yeah. And we will also have a virtual face-off between two men whose lives will forever be intertwined, Anderson the Spider Silva and Chris Weidman, at the same time to talk about their big boxing match on the 14th of November, live and exclusively on Netflix. That'll be tomorrow's program. And yeah, hopefully you all tune in.
Not bad.
Thank you, Pizza. I appreciate that. Peace and love. Peace and love. It's time to go. It's time to. P&L stands for when they put together
Peace and love. Peace and love.
That too. October 20th has come and gone. P&L, right? It's a P&L. Every event, you'll hear promoters talk about that. Every event has its own P&L. So like every event is its own like business, and they have a budget for that. It's P&L, right? Is that
Profit
the word?
and loss.
Yeah.
Frank said this earlier. Profit and loss.
Oh my God. I don't know.
No.
Where are you going with this? I'm not sure what you're doing.
Oh, because when you say P&L very quickly, it makes me think of like Eddie Hearn talking about a P&L, or Frank Smith always talks about a P&L.
Yeah, profit and loss statement, a P&L.
No, but so Frank, so it's P and then the letter N.
I know.
L.
I was a bookkeeper. I get it.
Like G
Oh, wait.
and P.
Wait. Frank's a bookkeeper?
Yeah.
He used
Frank,
to be.
we're actually looking for a bookkeeper at
Well.
Uncrowned HQ. I don't know if you know this.
Do you want a P or do you want an L?
Would like a P.
You should probably hire someone else then.
Did you know that there's a rap
Pretty
group?
expensive.
I don't trust Frank to take these duties.
Did you guys know that there's a rap group called PNL?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
What does that mean?
Their French pronunciation
Are you looking it up?
for the acronym is for Peace and Love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
But it's also profits.
We'll not be
Profit
signing
and loss.
anything.
Yeah, profit
It's
and
the
loss.
way
statement.
he says love at the end, like he's annoyed.
Love,
Like,
yes.
Like it's a passive aggressive.
The whole thing is annoyed. The whole thing is passive aggressive. Please. And then the last one is great. He's like, peace and love, peace and love. Like he's had enough of the video. That last
It doesn't
60
feel
seconds.
peaceful or lovely.
No. PT, you are peaceful and lovely. Love you all. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Quillan. Thank you, Dr. Brian. Thanks to you. Thanks to them. Back to our same time place. Until then, I say peace and go Jays.
Mwah.